going on?
Start. Hello, everyone. Hey, welcome to the live show. And it's got the usual suspects on it. So myself, John Yalden, who, as you can see there, Section 31 is not Star Trek. Okay, just want to make that clear. We've got Retro Doc Gary Akers. Ho, ho, ho. Now he's got a machine
Merry
gun.
Christmas, everybody.
And then we've got the mega geek, Ian David Diaz. How you
now
doing?
I've got a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
I ain't got a machine gun yet.
I so miss going to the multiplex like that and having to pick from like 5 or 6 movies that I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Those were the days, mate.
I'm just going to say there's been a lot of debate over the last few days about whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie, right? I was out having lunch with my mum today and she said to me, she goes, I'd really like us to watch that Christmas film over the Christmas period. I said, oh yeah, which one's that? And she goes, Die Hard. So there you go. That's confirmed. There is no further arguments to be made about whether it's Die Hard.
Do you know what?
Confirmed.
They have this thing called the Action Festival, and Keith happily bought me a ticket for that day, and they were showing Die Hard. They were screening Die Hard, and the guest star that they had was Robbie Davey, who his name is. That was in Die Hard, and the question was asked, and he said, "Do you know what?" He said, "Every year, I'm doing my Christmas shopping in a supermarket. Someone always comes up to him and says, you know, I love you when you were in Die Hard, and it's Christmas, and I'm going to be watching Die Hard this Christmas." And he says that confirms that it's a Christmas film. So there you go.
It is.
Robert Davi, who I think honestly was one of the all-time great Bond villains.
He
was,
in
License to Kill.
Absolutely.
If I saw Robert Davi at the store, that's what I'd bring up. I would go, "You were fantastic in License to Kill."
Yeah, but a lot of people recognize him from Die Hard, because Die Hard obviously is bigger.
Now, so John, the fact that Bruce Willis himself actually says it's not a Christmas movie doesn't change anything for you?
Well, in the past, me and Bruce had a lot of discussions about it, and quite frankly, at the time, he saw the error of his ways, and you know, my logic shone through.
I think he was joking when he said that.
No. So let me ask you, and I ask this straight ahead: is a movie that takes place at Christmas automatically a Christmas movie, even though nothing else in the movie deals with Christmas iconography or Christmas songs or the holiday? Just the fact that it's snowing and set in December, does that in itself automatically make any movie a Christmas movie?
No, but every movie that has Christmas in it deals with Christmas. Even Die Hard deals with Christmas.
But Die Hard 2 wasn't
of course
really.
It did. Of course it did.
What was it? Was snowing, but what else was?
It was Christmas.
No, Christmas tree in the airport.
But that's what I mean. I mean, it takes place in December, but
no. What I think, Gary, what you mean is the film intrinsically a Christmas movie, which means that it's actually dealing with Christmas within the story.
Well, yeah, like Die Hard was at a Christmas party. He was like writing ho ho ho.
But Christmas wasn't intrinsically in the story. but it was part of the story.
Okay.
But there are films like the Hallmark films, which are Christmas movies,
Well, yes,
through and through, isn't it? So that's the distinction between
a Hallmark
them.
movie. That's basically just one movie that's been made 959
Yes.
times. Yes,
Yes.
And this is for
Absolutely.
everybody in the comments, and we want to know from you: is Die Hard a Christmas movie? You know, and then we're going to collate all the information together, and on a future show, we are going to confirm it, and we're going to send it to the producers of Die Hard and the movie studios, and we're going to get them to officially write out that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
All right, so let me ask
All right.
you, is Die Hard 3 an Independence Day movie because it happens around the 4th of July?
Die Hard 3 was the one with Samuel L. Jackson.
Right. But didn't that take place around the July
I-
4th holiday? Does that make it
Well,
an independent
what-
because it happens to be? That's kind of what I was
no,
talking
no,
about.
I mean, the first two are definitely Christmas movies, and I think the first one as well.
Hmm.
It's established that he's coming out to effectively see his ex and stay over for the holidays.
Yeah.
Now, you could say in the US that there have been arguments before that, oh, it could be Thanksgiving, but no, because in the film you've got one of the terrorists that's taken out and he's wearing a Santa hat.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
establishes it as a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Die Hard 2, you've got all the Christmas themes. Then it's also said in Die Hard 2, you know, he says, how can the same shit happen to the same guy twice? You know, kind
Yeah,
of
but
almost
hold on.
saying that it's at Christmas.
The
Don't go
first
there,
one-
mate.
No, the first one he actually says he says remember when the guys was his name Argyle's playing the music in the
Mhm.
limousine, and he
Yeah.
says, "Have you got any Christmas music?" And he goes, "This is
Yeah.
Christmas
Okay.
music."
Yeah.
All right.
So it is
Okay. No,
Christmas.
that's-
I mean,
Yeah.
That's
so-
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
So it's
And
Christmas.
So that's it. And then Die Hard 3, they shook from it by the fact that
Yeah.
he was like he was an alcoholic and had separated from his missus. you know,
Yeah,
And he was a deadbeat cop. And
I
you
mean,
know,
considering
working
the
in New
Die
York
Hard 3
and-
kind of abandoned the whole confined space motif, it was still a really effective.
I like Die Hard
film.
3.
Yeah.
I really do.
I think
And
Die
And
Hard.
4 was good too.
I think Die
Yeah.
Hard 3 was a story written for Lethal Weapon. I can't remember, but it was.
Oh,
That makes
was it
sense.
really?
I could see
Yeah,
that. I
they
could see
turned
that.
it into a Die Hard movie.
I can see
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
But
And you know
Lethal
what I
Weapon
really
was
love?
a
You know what I
Christmas
really
film,
liked
wasn't it?
about Die Hard 3, honestly?
Yeah.
I love the kind of ensemble of all of his fellow police, the police captain
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all the people trying to help at the school, all of those, and the sciencey guy trying to defuse, all of those cast of characters I thought were really, really good. in
That
Die
film was
Hard
so
3.
wrong, though. It was so wrong.
Can I say about Die Hard 3 quickly?
Mm.
Even for the 90s, that female police officer had one of the worst perms I've ever seen in my life.
Do you know what? Right, I did not like that. I thought it was okay, but the more I watch it, the more upset I get over it. One, why would someone as strong as McClane fall so
Yeah.
low and become a drunk? I just thought that was really terrible.
Mm.
And two, right, it's so obvious that the ending was tacked on
Yeah.
that film. It was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
obvious. When I first watched it in the cinema, I was like, I mean, there's some really nice violent sequences, especially in the lift when he shoots all those people. That was quite fun.
Yeah.
But it just got a bit. It was getting to a point where it was getting a bit ridiculous, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
and
As it kept
I
going
agree.
on and on and on.
Well,
you
I
know?
agree.
Well, Die Hard 3, like you say, it actually got to the point where I'm thinking,
Mm.
I'm not sure his limb is actually still attached to his body because he's lost so much blood at that point.
But I tell you what, the reason why I like Die Hard 4 so much, right, apart from the ending, which sucked, is because at that moment in time, you really wanted John McClane to come back, and just to see him
Yeah.
when he's in the apartment and he throws the fire extinguisher and he says that line, you know, what is it? That's going to wake the neighbors. You know he's
Yeah.
back, right? You know he's
Yeah.
back. That's McClane. He's back. So
Great.
it's one of the reasons why I liked it so much.
And I thought the villain in that was good. I thought that the young guy who was kind of his partner in that, they had good.
Oh yeah,
interplay.
they had good chemistry. Yeah, those two,
And the
they were
Kevin
good.
Smith scene was fun.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what are you guys watching this week then? Because like I say, I've got this through, and I'm going to be watching this later.
Blade.
I'm watching Die Hard 5
Not
this
very
week.
Christmassy.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
very
there
Christmassy.
isn't-
Blade.
Well, I'm going to look through it now and see if there is a tree in the background.
Well, it's
somewhere.
red, so it's got one
Yeah.
of the one of the Christmas colors there.
Always
tell you
trying
what-
to ice skate uphill.
Hell
you know.
yeah. I'll tell you what I'm watching. I am watching Christmas music. Sorry, Christmas films. And I'm trying to catch some new ones. I've caught two new ones which are they were bloody awful. But I'm still gonna watch Family Man. I'm still gonna watch The Bishop's Wife. I'm still gonna watch While You Were Sleeping. These are the films that have been ignored throughout the years of they are classic Christmas films.
Bishop's
As far
Wife
as
is
I'm
very
concerned.
good.
It
Are you
is.
gonna watch?
You mean the
original.
original, right? With
original,
Cary
yeah,
Grant and David
Yep.
Niven. Yeah.
Yep.
Are you going to watch Serendipity, which was the
I liked that.
what's that? Yeah, John Cusack
And Kate Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale.
It's the only reason to watch it.
Well, no,
Yeah.
Eugene Levy's scene as the store guy is very good.
All right. That films like what is it, Love Actually and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's a Christmas film and it's nice, but it's the kind of film that I don't want to watch again. But things like Bishop's Wife, which is very, very old-fashioned Christmassy, While You Were Sleeping, because of Sandra Bullock, she's so cute in that movie, and I really like that film. It's one of my favorites. That's the reason why Rebecca's real name is Rebecca Monoratz. It comes from While You Were Sleeping. That was her surname, Monorat. So I just took it from.
And that was her first.
Yeah.
What came first, that or Speed?
No, that came first.
That came first, and
Yeah.
then she got, because I was going to say that was a big movie. That was her first big movie then.
Yeah, it's really good. Really, really good.
I mean, for me with Sandra Bullock, it has to be Demolition Man. She turned up in Demolition Man, and I was like,
she played a bit of a bimbo though in Demolition Man.
What's your point?
Just saying. She played. I mean,
I got no problem
in
with
Speed.
that.
She was quite intelligent. She was quite, whatever. And in While You Were Sleeping, she was cute and had all her faculties. But in Demolition Man, she came across as a bit of a bimbo, didn't she? You got to admit.
She did. Yeah.
So then,
again, I'm fine with that.
How do you guys then rate Speed 2 Cruise Control?
Oh, that's terrible. I saw 5 minutes of it. I never saw it in the cinema. I saw 5 minutes of it. That was enough for me. I just couldn't watch it anymore.
I think everyone only saw 5 minutes of it because it did so poorly.
Yeah, absolute nonsense. Total
but I think, I've got Blade lined up to watch. I've got some Christmas stuff to watch, but I'm actually going to go down. I've decided this year I want to go down like the action movie route. I want to go back and enjoy some action movies again.
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon, yeah.
Yeah. So I've got the Lethal Weapon set ready to go. Funny you should say it. I've got the Die Hard set ready to go. I've got Demolition Man, and then I've got Van Damme movies. I've got
Christmas movie. Van Damme was in a Christmas movie.
No, they're not. I'm classing them this year.
Well, you can watch Under Siege 2. That Under Siege 2 took place in the snow, so you can.
It wasn't Christmas though.
Well, you know what, John? They're coming out. Aren't they doing Lethal Weapon 5? So you have to watch all 4.
Yeah. It's going to be weird doing that one though, isn't it? Because they look so old, both of them.
Well, at this point, all the babies they had in that one can be grown up now.
Look, I just hope they don't do what they normally do. Hollywood has run out of ideas. If they do this, I'm going to be so angry. They come on and then they got sons and they're part of the police force, and then they team up with Riggs and Murtaugh. I'm going to scream. If they do that, that is just so obvious. What they should do is have them both back, but always reference to how old they are and make them do things that are within their wheelhouse when in their age. That's what they should do.
No, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be that the sons, all the kids are now on the force, and they get into trouble, and to help them out, Riggs and Murtaugh have to come out of retirement, to help their kids out of whatever they're doing.
I love Lethal Weapon though. I think Lethal Weapon
it's fantastic.
Terrific. Apart from the last one was absolute bollocks.
And they have to get Joe Pesci in this one too.
I don't think they look. Joe Pesci has stated that he's retired, and the only reason why he made that film with Martin Scorsese, the last film, was because they actually
The Irishman.
Yeah, they actually begged him, and he came out of retirement to do that. But he doesn't want to act anymore, Joe Pesci, at all. He's not interested. So
well, they got to have a hard time getting relief. Maybe they get Danny DeVito as the comic relief then, or something.
I'll always maintain that the first Lethal Weapon film is the best because it was hard-nosed, it was violent, it was funny, and it was a damn good action movie. Look. What makes me laugh is when British people make action films, right? They don't make action films, okay? Look at Lethal Weapon. The man ran down the road with a big machine gun in his hand, trying to chase a car at full speed. Come on, that's action. Jeez. Yeah.
You didn't like the one where the toilet blew up, where he's sitting on the toilet?
No, I like the second one.
Yeah, that's great.
I thought it was quite brave that it went more comedy than it.
Comedy.
I mean,
I was surprised at the second one because I didn't see I started catching up around the time of like Lethal Weapon 3. I hadn't seen the first two. I was surprised in the second one that they killed off the Patsy Kensit character. That really surprised me.
There is, if you go on YouTube, there are outtakes. There are where she's alive at the end and stuff like that. So they decided to kill her off for some reason. I can't remember when they did the reshoots, and they killed her off. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know why they did that.
I think with Lethal Weapon as well, that was another reason why Shane Black exited the sequel, because they wanted to go to the comedy route, as you said, and Shane Black was like, well, no, I don't want to go the comedy route. You know, I want it to be like the first one's been. But I love all of those Lethal Weapons. You know, I never get tired of those movies. They're just great action fun. You know,
as I said, if you compare the British action, like for instance, when British people do action films, it's always kind of grounded on, like, for instance, there was that one called 6 Hours where it was based on the SAS when they attacked the embassy. And I watched that, right, and I was like, yeah, it's good, but it's just kind of flat, and, you know. Yeah. And then when you watch something like Last Boy Scout, you watch The Last Boy Scout, it's so over the top and so enjoyable. You just think, why can't we make movies like that? Do you know what I mean? Why can't we do that?
I've got lined up this week as well. I'm going back to watch Predator again because
Predator's terrific.
I love Predator. It's great, you know, and it was. I love how they advertised it at the time. They were like, right, okay, here's Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was the Terminator, who was unstoppable, but here's an alien creature that's literally kicking his ass throughout that film. Yeah, and it's just done brilliantly, you know, and it's got all
Terminator's a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
The guy comes back from the future to save a baby who will be the salvation of all humanity. That's a Christmas movie.
Yeah. But was it set at Christmas?
No, but it's about, if you think about
it's about the nativity.
It's about the nativity. He comes back and he's saving a baby who will then grow up and save all of humanity. Don't shake your head.
So Gary, what?
Do you know what? Sorry, can I just say something? Can I just say something? Let me just say something, John. Let me just say something. Sorry, mate. Right, you know what he's describing? He's describing, right? Every year they have "Say Now, da, 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 you go away" every Christmas, and that's not a Christmas song. Why are they playing it? Why? Yeah, that's what annoys me.
The one Christmas song I wish could be wiped out from memory and history and all of it is "Last Christmas" by George Michael. I hate that song.
No, it's Mariah Carey.
It's one line that he repeats 55 times over in like 3 minutes.
It's Mariah Carey for me. In fact, I'm getting that close to like sitting at the front door in a chair with a shotgun, just in case she breaks.
And the Love Actually. What's the Love Actually Christmas song they play too much?
Girls Aloud.
No, it's the one that's
a riff. It's a riff on.
It's the one the little girl sings.
Oh, that's the same one. That same Mariah Carey.
Song.
Yeah. It's Mariah Carey songs.
Ooh, it makes you shiver.
You know what? Right, so funny. Okay, right. So basically, that ending, the climax to Love Actually is set in Wandsworth, which is where I live. Yeah. Right, and it's a school in Wandsworth. Let me tell you something. There are no schools that are that big, and the streets are not that long. So there you go. If you watch that film, it's a big lie.
And believe me, it's a total fallacy that a guy can come over and into America, walk into a bar, and three of the hottest women on the planet happen to be there. It's like, yeah, this is a science fiction movie at that point.
Yeah. And I mean, we'll obviously carry on talking about our great movies and stuff, but what I wanted to show you guys as well, because you know how I like to share my own pain, you know, about things I've seen. Misery loves company. Yes. So I want you and everyone in the chat to experience it with me as well.
Let Ian fill up his wine goblet before you go any further.
So what I'm going to do, first of all, let's take you to this absolute dumpster fest. Okay.
Go on
Right.
in.
Brace
Started at the
yourselves.
front. Start at the beginning.
What is it?
Section 31, mate.
Oh no!
The trailer.
Right,
God, that's
right.
a load of bollocks.
We'll take some breaks in between.
Everybody,
just so we can
yell out if you see anything that remotely resembles Star Trek in this trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Okay, pause it.
Oh, dear.
Now,
mate.
we've already got the S&M
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, we have.
There you go.
So there's that. Already we're off to a great start. Okay.
Here's a customer hoping for a word with you.
All right, now, okay.
Yeah. Can we talk about
Is that
Okay.
Is that supposed to be the Frank Gorshin character from the
Who
original?
cares? Why are we watching
yeah.
this?
Yeah. So
series?
that character from the original series, remember in that story, they were the last two of their planet.
Yes.
They wiped each other out and they went on fighting. So
Wait, John,
there.
you're talking about Star Trek. This is not Star Trek.
It's not.
I know.
It's not.
I know, which is why I was just about to say.
And
to
they
you,
misspelled
it
section.
reassures-
They misspelled
Yeah.
section. It should be SEXTION.
So it reassures me, guys, that the fact that they've got that wrong, it's not in the same universe. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Bring him.
All right.
Please, can we stop now?
Yeah.
Seriously. This is absolute shit. Why are we watching it?
I wanted you to feel
do me a
pain,
favor.
Ian,
Do me a favor.
right?
I can definitely feel pain.
Can you show the poster? Do you have the poster for this?
I don't have that at a sec, but I'll see if I can get it in a bit. But it's
Because
just
the poster itself is just phenomenally. You're
Bad.
thinking, what in the world about any of this is actual? Now, and this was supposed to be a series, and then she won the Oscar, and I mean, if you look at that poster, which is total, she's in total dominatrix mode. She's sitting there with her. Do you have that or not? Are we just going to talk about it?
No, but
And then she's sitting there with her legs spread, and she has her feet up on this guy who's kneeling down. And when I first saw that, I thought, well, that really is everything everywhere all at once, Michelle Yeoh.
What I'm going to say to you guys, okay, the reason I put that up there is because I want it on record, because this is going to be part of Kurtzman's trial for his crimes against humanity.
Oh,
So that will be played, repeatedly.
Against him.
Yeah, during his court case. And it will also be used in his cell, that it will be played on a loop non-stop, that he has to
He wouldn't mind.
sit through that for eternity.
But
Look, I mean,
can't you not see the pattern that's being created by Hollywood? It's all about being queer. It's all about being a woman,
Yeah.
the women that they think should be women. It's all about women pretending to be men. It's all about gay people. It's like, well, that's not Star Trek, obviously, and this is not a Star Trek trailer. So you can keep it and shove it up your. Anyway, I'll stop there.
Yeah.
So there you go.
well, but I mean, the fact that it's not.
That's
gonna
what
be
we
a
like
series-
about Ian. He sits on the fence, everyone.
But no, I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that it's going to be like a one-shot movie. The week that it's out, there's going to be a lot of articles on the clickbait sites like Screen Rant and Collider and all of that, and they'll do all of this. And then a week later, it'll be in everybody's memory hole because it's like a one-shot TV movie that, luckily, I think, we can forget about.
It shouldn't even been made.
I agree.
No, but again, in many ways, I thank them, because it just means I can focus on stuff that I enjoy. There's, like we were just talking about, and we'll go back to, when you're talking about action movies throughout the past, there's so many of them that I keep going back to. I mean, I watched the other day, Hard Target with Van Damme.
Oh, I love that film.
By John Woo. I love it. It's
love that film.
It's just great fun from beginning to end.
That's what I'm saying. The Americans and that side, the Asian, the Chinese, the Japanese, or whatever, they're really good at doing action stuff. They actually have the technology to do a lot more now than they ever did in the past. Could you imagine? You compare something like Fist of Fury, the way they shot that, compared to what they're doing today. They've gone on from leaps and bounds, and the Americans are still stuck in the same groove. Do you know what I mean? And so is the British people still stuck in the same groove as well. We haven't developed at all as filmmakers. All we're doing is making the same crap all the time. It's either a bruv film or a costume drama, or if it's an action film, it has to be based in reality. Maybe another Robin Hood movie. Do you know what I mean? It's all the same crap time and time again. It's just
we need more movies like in Die Hard 4 where we have like John McClane leaping onto the wing of a fighter jet.
Stupid. But it was fun. It was fun. Oh, have you guys heard of this movie? It's coming out soon, action movie, and it stars Daisy Ridley, and it's called The Cleaner. Have you heard of it?
I've heard the name. I haven't seen anything of it.
Let me tell you what it's about. It's about Daisy Ridley. She is cleaning the Shard, the Shard in London. She's one of the cleaners that cleans the windows in the Shard. And then terrorists take over the Shard. And guess who has to stop them? Does it sound familiar to you? I'm not even joking. You can look it up. You can look the trailer up. It's called The Cleaner. It is Die Hard with Daisy Ridley.
If it wasn't Daisy Ridley, but it was Jenna Coleman, I think I'd watch it.
Halfway through the movie, one of the people go, "So who's up there?" And he goes, "It's so-and-so. She was ex-army."
Oh.
And you're like, what is this?
Did she get dishonorably discharged? That she's now
something like that. Cleaner? Something like that. Yeah, probably.
Lasted 10 minutes.
Yeah. What a load of fun.
She'll end up having gotten discharged because she punched a higher up but it was really the right thing to do. But she had to get canned because the general wouldn't support her mission or something. Yeah. So she's still the good guy,
Does she have a little droid that looks like a football in this film as well? That goes with her on the journey.
See, honestly, that sounds almost like
it's
Kate Beckinsale in her vampire action mode. I can see her doing.
Do you know who's playing the villain? Clive Owen.
Okay.
He's like the guy in Die Hard. He has all these speeches and stuff like that.
This is like
what the hell is this?
It sounds like a TV movie. I mean, if that was made over here, it would be like a weekend. It would be a weekend TV movie after Sharknado or something.
It's a big budget. It's a big budget thing.
Really?
Really, if you look at the trailer, it's good. It's a big budget thing. Thing is, though, it's serious. You think that'd be a parody, but it's not. It's completely serious. Wouldn't you? You think to yourself, didn't anybody spot the plagiarism here? Did anyone? No one.
But they missed a cue. They should have called it Shard Hard.
Maybe.
Yeah. Do you know what? I always remember Peter Kay, the comedian. He talks in his autobiography about the fact that he pitched to do Die Hard, but as a comedy in Manchester. He went into the studio and the execs were all sat there and they were like, "Yeah, so thanks for coming to see us." They had no idea who he was. And he goes, "So tell us, what's your idea then?" He goes, "I want to do Die Hard, but in Manchester." And they started laughing and they went, "Hey, that's great, but what do you want to do?" And he just went, right, he just started his pitch.
Point. He's funny. He's he's been away for a long time, hasn't he? He hasn't been on TV.
Yeah, he's doing voiceover. He's doing one of the voices in the new Wallace and Gromit, which does look a lot of fun.
That's what I'm waiting for. That's what we're doing. One of the things I'm doing this week, I'm doing another binge through all of the Wallace and Gromit stuff as a lead up to the
first one. Isn't very good. Yeah. The first one's okay. It's
Curse of the Were-Rabbit. I really enjoy. I think that's.
I like the Wrong Trousers one. That was good.
The first one was a student film, wasn't it? By the two guys. They were students when they made that one, and then they made the Wrong Trousers, and it took off from there.
Yeah, and that is just that's going to be a massive success. I'd be amazed if that doesn't do well. It just ticks all of the family entertainment boxes, and I would say there's something else that's kind of, it is before it that you know, is desperately trying to cling
Oh,
on
and
to
can we
that Wallace and Gromit's leg.
to the British public who's watching us live here?
Yeah.
Please wait on Christmas night until about 30 seconds before Wallace and Gromit starts to turn on your TV. Whatever you do, do not tune into BBC One 5 minutes before to wait for Wallace and Gromit. I'm begging you. Please just wait about 30 seconds beforehand and then turn on Wallace and Gromit.
And if you want to see a big, large woman in a red dress who wants to drink pumpkin latte, then watch that show.
And then I'm
Joy
also
the World.
my other message when you after you watch Strictly Come Dancing, please shut off your TV. Right away. I'm begging you. The second Strictly Come Dancing turns off, please hit the off button. I'm begging
for your own sanity. Yeah.
It is so this world's gone so upside down.
Well, only so because so that the numbers, so that the ratings bleed, just so we don't have to deal with, oh, look at all the 10 million viewers for Doctor Who. Yeah.
I will say this, guys. In the UK, I have looked at the listings for ITV on Christmas Day, and it's awful. It's atrocious. So
they don't care about Christmas, like the independent channel.
I thought they used to run. I thought the big thing was running Bond movies on Christmas Day.
No, they've got it anymore. Amazon's got it.
Amazon's got it. So I would say if that show that used to be a show that I loved a long time ago and will not be named, that if that doesn't get good ratings, they literally have got. They already haven't got excuses, but they literally are going to have to really, get to the bottom of the barrel.
It'll be because of all the Christmas racists. Racism is alive and well on Christmas, everybody.
The thing is though, with I've never liked British drama. There are a lot of British dramas I do like, but in general, if it was a cross between me watching something that was an American thing or an international thing rather than it made solely in England by English writers, I always avoid that, because every time I get so disappointed with stuff when British people, like, something sounds really interesting and I watch and I think this is absolute nonsense. Do you know what I mean? And then you watch something American and then I have a good laugh over it. But not all American stuff is great. I'm just talking about the good stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That penetrates through.
If more British shows showed people running down the street carrying a big machine gun, Ian would like it.
No, it's not that. It's not that, right? We used to make really good shows, right? When Lord Grade was in charge, during the 60s, we made the Avengers, we made the Saint, we made things that were fun, that we were aiming for the rest of the world. And now all BBC seems to be doing is making stuff with trans people and gay people, and do you know what I mean? And downgrading men. And
Luke Grade was a visionary because he had this unerring sense for concepts that would be popular internationally.
Exactly, that's what they're aiming for, and Americans aim for that as well. But everybody remembers American shows because their market's so big. But I'll tell you one thing, right? The last really good show on British TV, action show, because we don't do action shows anymore. All we do is Talking Heads. Was The Professionals, and The Professionals, right, had the best opening ever for a TV show ever. And one of the best themes, that when that car smashes through that window, you knew that you were in for some action. You just knew it.
Fun.
You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. I mean, I'll ask you guys as well. Are you like me now? Because when I hear about a show that is on or coming soon, there is a reluctance from me now to actually watch it. Because I'm concerned about what is going to be in it. Whereas, and I spend a lot more time now enjoying my collection of all my stuff from the past. That we talked about the action movies, sci-fi. It's all great. You haven't got to worry about all that. And I don't know if we're ever going to get back to that. It's going to take. I think it's going to take a lot. Probably in the next couple of years, it would need to take. hearing it right from people, right? That movie, that show, that movie, that like 3 or 4 on the trot haven't got any of it in it. Then I'd start to think maybe we're coming out of that nightmare fuel era, and we're actually starting to get back to a sensible phase of film and show making. You know,
Mike, still got a long way to go.
Well, my cutoff, honestly, is 2015. If I ask about a movie like I asked yesterday, and Ian said I was asking about the Kurt Russell Santa movies, which I hadn't seen, and Ian said, watch the first one, the second one's woke. So in this case, I mean, obviously they both came out after 2015, but in this case, since it's somebody I trust who says, "Oh, the first one's good, skip the second one," then that's what I'll do. I'll watch the first one and skip the second one. But 2015 is my cutoff.
Do you know what, right? I love films where you have someone that's incredibly clever or an angel or someone that's so intelligent and kind and wise. Like in the Christmas Chronicles, the one with Kurt Russell, you know, it seems like he's in trouble, but he's so wise as Santa that he shows people the error of their ways. And it's kind of nice at Christmas time, that nice feeling that you get. But again, right, when you watch British stuff, it's just so awful. I was watching this one called, it was animation on Netflix. It's just been released called That Christmas, right? And it's okay. But my God, the messages they send in there about climate change and all that.
No.
No. Do you know what I mean? I just leave it alone. I want to enjoy myself. I don't want to be preached at, you know?
Well, it's like if they remade Predator now, you know where Arnie picks up that truck and drives it into the building. Yeah. That would be an electric vehicle now.
Okay, let's talk about that, right? So John's just brought up a really good, interesting thing to talk about. So I watched Let the Right One In with my niece last night, okay, and it was the Scandinavian version. Now compare that to the American version. In the Scandinavian version, you've got kids, right, walking around with just shorts on, right? Young kids, really young kids, you know, going to swim, doing PE and stuff like that. In the American version, right, it's completely and utterly different because they're kind of more free over there with sexuality and stuff like that. And you have those two kids who looks like they're gonna kind of get it on, but they don't, and they're quite young. Was it 12-year-olds and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And it wasn't, when I was watching it, I didn't feel funny about it. I didn't feel anything. It's just a movie to me, right? Yeah. And that's their culture. But when you watch the remake, it's so bad that you just think, why did you even bother making this? Do you know, why did you bother making it? You know, it's just, and that's the difference, right? Movies of today, right? They're so scared of doing things because they get a backlash. So
I think there should be a global ban on any remakes of movies that were good in the first place. If you want to make a movie that had a good idea, but for whatever reason, budget, it just wasn't done well, that's fine. But don't take a movie like when Tim Burton remade Planet of the Apes. Don't remake a movie that was already a classic because you're not going to be able to do it better. But I mean, for your electric car scene in Predator, John, I think if they remake it, they need to have it like where Arnie is going forward and about to crash the truck, but then it runs out of power because it wasn't charged enough, and so he has to improvise because the car. Then it could be a message like, you know, charge your electric cars, everybody.
Yeah, you know, and the military car actually, and the big explosion at the end could be the battery of the electric vehicle exploding.
Now, are you going to watch all of the Predator movies in your Christmas? I don't know how many have there been. How many of Predator movies?
I forget now. I only go as far as 2.
Does that include Predator and Alien?
Yeah, well, no, you don't include them because they're different. They're different animals. But if you're just talking about the Predator itself, I think there was 4, wasn't there? There was 1 and 2. Then there was the one with Adrian Brody, and then the last one,
Predators, wasn't it?
Yeah. And the last one, which was with that set in back in time or whatever it was with the Indians.
Oh yeah, the Hulu one.
Yeah, that one. So there's 4 really. There's really 4.
Prey.
Yeah.
That was it.
That was terrible. I hate that.
Yeah, and they're doing a sequel to it, aren't they? I think.
Why?
I know.
Why? Money.
And I got even at the time when Predator 2 came out, and I watched Predator 2, and there's some good moments in Predator 2.
Some nice
even
moments.
Even then, I always remember what Arnie said, and he said the reason he didn't come back because he didn't believe the story. He said, well, the Predator wants to go somewhere and test itself against potentially the best in the world. You know, and that's why it's a predator hunting them. But why would you go to New York City and go after gangs? Because they're not exactly the most intelligent in the world. So that was his argument why he didn't come back. And I kind of
that wasn't the reason why he didn't come back. It was because he was scheduled to do another movie, and the scheduling conflicted with the second one. But he's right; it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense.
He was going to be making Jingle All the Way 2.
No, I don't think he was making that one. I don't think he was making that one somehow.
I mean, if anyone had told me, or if I was a producer or an executive at a Hollywood studio and someone came in to pitch Predator 2 and they said, what is it about? I said, well, same as the first one, but we've got Gary Busey in it as well. I mean, could you think of anything that more different than having a sequel with Gary Busey in it?
Do you know what? Right, when they made the second one and they wanted to make another one, to me it made sense to go back to Arnie because he was the only one that survived the attack from an actual predator. So if another predator appeared on the planet at the same time, you would go back to the person that actually survived and ask him for advice, wouldn't you? And that'd be a good premise to get Arnie back in, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? So
why don't
not now, though. It's too late now.
Why don't they do a meta thing of like crossing? Why don't they do like a Predator versus Terminator, where the Predator comes to refight the Arnie character from the first one, but he sees the Arnie Terminator and doesn't know it's the Terminator. He thinks it's Arnie from the first Predator movie, but then it ends up being the Arnold Terminator versus the Predator, and they can just call it, Predator versus Terminator.
I think James Cameron would have something to say about that. So yeah.
Do you know what I was always gutted they never made though? Was the game from the early 90s was RoboCop versus Terminator.
I think they did that in the comics, didn't they?
Well, hold on.
Yeah, so they did do that as well.
So who owns the rights to the Terminator now? I know.
So Orion used to be. Was it Orion that used to be?
No, it was Calico. Calico that owns the rights.
Calico, yeah.
Yeah, so
and they were the ones that had T2, weren't they? Calico.
Yeah. So hold on. So does James Cameron own the rights now too? Because I know he's making another one, right? So if he does own the rights, and who owns the rights to RoboCop?
He could be possible. He could be making it. He could be making another Terminator just because he came up to the people that do own the rights and say, "Hey, I'd like to do it." So
but I think I don't trust him now.
A post-apocalyptic RoboCop versus Terminator, where RoboCop's still about. If anyone's going to survive a nuclear holocaust, it's RoboCop.
You guys, why don't they just do one final movie to close out all these franchises? Just do like Aliens versus Predator versus Terminator and get all of the franchises in one movie and wrap everything out. It would make like $4 billion.
So basically you're saying it's Bloodsport, but with all of these
do you know what, right? What is it? So Indiana Jones teams up with someone like someone maybe Tom Cruise's character from Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible, there you go.
And do you know what is possible? And I'm not talking about time travel either, because I remember reading this comic ages ago. It was Spider-Man teams up with Doc Savage, right? And the way they did it was Doc Savage did something in the past which infiltrated the future.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Spider-Man was involved with. So what it was dovetail stories. So you go in the past where Doc Savage was doing something, and then in the present, I think it was Spider-Man, I can't remember, he would discover what he did in the past. And so that's how they teamed them up. Instead of using time travel, they could easily do that with some of the if they wanted to team things up.
Yeah, they used to do that like back in the day with like Star Trek comics, where they would have a mini series of the original series, and then they would follow it with a next gen limited series where they go back to the planet 80 years later and find out the legacy, deal with the legacy of whatever happened in the first. That's good.
No,
that
But I would do that because I had this idea when I was when I think it was after Star Trek 3. I had this idea called Star Trek Epic, right? And it had all of them in it. It had every one of them in it. And basically, it was that kind of idea where James T. Kirk would do something, and then you'd go into the future and be dovetailing all of them. So it'll be Picard who would do something that was related to what James T. Kirk did in the past, and then what is it? And then who else? Benjamin Sisko was in it as well. So it was kind of like it was called Star Trek Epic. So basically, all the captains are meant to be in it, but it's really bad to have time travel because that's just such a lazy way of writing.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe I can do it like that sort of thing. So
at what point do you guys think they're going to do a recast Die Hard prequel, like young John McClane?
No, it's a bad idea.
No, I know it's a bad idea, but somebody's going to come in and pitch young John McClane.
We're in a safe zone. We're in a Hollywood safe zone era where they are just basically thinking, what have we got in our IP arsenal? What can we do a sequel to? What is a safe pair of hands? You know, that's what they're doing at the moment. And that's going to carry on for quite some time because they're risk averse. I will never knock a studio and a director for actually trying to create something different and unique, especially in the current era. So if someone brought out a sci-fi movie that was completely different, I may not like it, but I'll respect them for at least trying something different, you know, whereas now it's how many times do you pick up your iPad now or a magazine and it's basically the latest news on they're going to reboot this or they're going to reboot that. You know, it's just it's not a case of they've run out of ideas. It's a case that Hollywood aren't employing the people that have got the right ideas because they've been blacklisted. You know, there's talented writers out there that they're just not using.
Have they done Die Hard on the space station yet?
Yes, they have.
Which one was that?
That was the one that who's the French guy that did Taken? The producer director.
Oh yeah, I know you mean.
He did one with Guy Pearce. You've seen that one?
Yeah, you're right.
On the space station. Yeah, and the president's daughter and stuff like that. And
I'll have to
like Die Hard on the space station.
I'll have to find that.
Yeah,
that's it. So I don't know. I mean, what are you guys got anything else lined up to watch this week or over the Christmas period?
I want to do every Liam Neeson low budget action movie
don't do that.
He's made since Taken, because it seems like there's like one a month.
It's awful. They're all free. Just collecting his pension money now. That's all he's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a waste of time. The whole thing's Taken was a surprise hit. I remember I went to see Taken as a laugh with my friend and enjoyed it so much that I went to see it 2 weeks later. I went to see it again. I thought it was so much fun. It does take time to get going though. The first Taken, about 20 minutes into it, that's when it starts basically. So
did you see 2 and 3?
I saw 2 and it was awful. I saw 3 and that was even worse. So I'm not going to go back to that franchise.
You know what I actually thought was good. Seriously, I thought was for what it was. I thought it was good. It wasn't the original, of course. It was the A-Team movie.
It's fun. I enjoyed it.
I got problems with it.
I mean, it could have been a train wreck, but I liked Liam Neeson in that. I thought Liam Neeson was a good.
But the problem with that film is that it was handled by the wrong person. Again, it's like Mangold was given the last Indiana Jones film to direct, and he was not qualified to do that. He's a good director, but that's not the tone of films that he makes. So it was completely wrong to get. Same thing with this guy. What's his name? Cornish, where his name is the guy who directed this one. Putting up things like comic books where it goes, that never happened in the A-Team. You needed someone that was really entrenched in the A-Team lore to make that film work. I like the bit with the flying the tank and all that. I thought that was terrific. All that stuff was terrific. The casting was completely and utterly wrong, in my opinion. Apart from Liam Neeson and the guy who plays Face, I can't remember his name, Bradley Cooper. The other two was just miscast. Totally
I mean,
miscast.
I enjoyed it. And I've got it in my collection.
Yeah.
And I will watch it again, because
Yeah.
the one thing I was worried about when I heard that they were going to make it was, I thought, is this going to be in the same style and comedy style as
nothing's as good as the original, though. There
so
you go.
the style of Starsky and Hutch, when they did the comedy version of it, and then they did that with Chips later on, didn't they? And I was worried they were going to do it with A-Team. Thankfully they didn't. And I enjoy it. I think I got a movie that I didn't expect, where it was actually something I could sit there and enjoy it, and it could
I went to see
it could have been a lot worse.
My mum was bored out of her head. My mum loves the A-Team.
really?
She even watches it now. My
It's
mum
still
loves
good.
it. She didn't. She said it was okay. She goes, but it just there was something about it that didn't work. Look, when I watched Rose, right, Doctor Who's Rose, I knew there was something wrong. When I watched the Avengers movie, you know, the one with Steed, and you know, I knew the cast was wrong. When I watched the A-Team, I knew that was wrong too, right? I have this brain that tells me
which Doctor Who Rose are you talking about? Are you talking Billy Piper or the other one?
Billy Piper, obviously.
Okay.
I tell you, so let me tell you two things, right? So let's talk about those two movies, right? Let's talk
Butch
about
Rose or Feminine Rose. They're the two.
Let's talk about the Avengers movie, right? The thing they did wrong in the Avengers movie, apart from the screenplay being really awful, was they cast wrong. It should have been, now get this, Hugh Grant and Elizabeth Hurley. That's what it should have been.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Hugh Grant has a style of his own, and he's very funny, and he would have made a perfect Steed, and he's very English. That would have been awesome. Elizabeth Hurley was running high at that time, right?
From
and
Austin
she was gorgeous, Austin Powers and everything. She would have made a great Emma Pickford.
Yeah,
Plus, she's
agree.
English as well, right?
That's
the thing they did wrong.
I applaud that choice.
Can I just say though that you know, this all adds into my evidence that I'm building, that Ian's obsessed with Hugh Grant and he wants him in everything.
No, but that's a good. No, that's
it's
a good.
like
Hugh
remake a Pretty Woman.
Hugh
You'll have
Grant
Hugh
could
Grant
do
in it next.
could do the suave British gentleman.
Yeah, exactly right. And then if you were going to make a Persuaders movie, again, it would be Hugh Grant and George Clooney. Those two, they're two perfect casts.
All right, very good.
That's what I'm saying.
Very good.
That's what I'm saying. It's so obvious to me what they should, like with the A-Team. It should have been Mel Gibson, right, as Hannibal Smith, Jim Carrey as Murdoch, right. It should have been that big guy from The Green Mile, but he'd be a different B.A. Baracus. He wouldn't be trying to copy. What's his name? Mr. T. He'll be his own thing, but he's huge and he's big and he's gentle, and that's what you need for Mr. T. And for a face man, I probably would have kept Bradley Cooper, but then again, he wasn't famous at that moment in time. But I would have kept him, and that would have been the perfect casting for the A-Team. Plus, get Amy back. Get Amy back in the show. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is the thing they should have done. But
I just want to say to Mr. T, if you're listening, that this guy is the one who said, "What's his name?"
Yeah,
it was not John, and it wasn't me. It was this guy who said, "What's his name?"
But that's what you do, isn't it? And also, right? They basically they went backwards, didn't they? So they started off how they met, which was pointless. Then they went and did the war, and then they started the whole film.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
I want to see in 5 minutes there's going to be a pounding on the door. Mega Geek, get in there, man.
Pity the fool.
I pity the fool who doesn't know my name.
Yeah, you have to start the film when they're wanted, because we don't need to know that backstory. Start when they're wanted. We don't. There's no.
They did it in 30
it.
seconds on the thing with they did 30 seconds of backstory in the credits of the series.
No, in the series, that's what you needed to do for the movie.
30
that's
seconds.
What you needed to do.
I think this also drops into, you know, what is wrong with modern Hollywood as well. They have this mindset where they think, oh, we have to give you this big backstory about who they are and what they do, because they think people won't know. Well, people will find out, because you can get a box set, you can get it off streaming. You know, there's easy ways to find the original series and just watch the first episode, and then you're away with it.
I do think the original series went on a little bit too long, because in the final season where they flipped the premise,
terrible.
They get caught and tried, and now Robert Vaughn is on there. Robert Vaughn is great, but now they're working for the government in the final season. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Rubbish.
I watched that one because I watch my set regularly. But yeah, that final season is weird, and it's the weirdest thing with that final season of A-Team where they actually have. It's almost like a spin-off Man from Uncle episode.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
yeah, it's very, very peculiar. It really is.
And if you're going to get a fifth person on the team, don't get another attractive woman. Don't get the guy that they had during the final season.
Yeah.
It's like too many guys on this team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was awful. That's why I thought to myself. I thought, if I was going to make the A-Team, I'll definitely get some hot person to play Amy, because she was the reporter, right? And Face Man was Face Man and stuff like that. And Jim Carrey would have been amazing as Murdoch, because that was a character that he was born to play, but then he never got the chance. Same thing with
Amy is my first crush, without a doubt.
Who's the guy that is married to Isla Fisher? Borat. The guy
The
guy
they
plays
split
Borat
up now, haven't they? I think.
Yeah. The guy who plays Borat was born to play Freddie Mercury. He was that close to playing Freddie Mercury, and they went for what's his name with the big eyes. So do you know what I mean? It's a shame. It's a shame, really.
Taron Egerton, was it? Not Taron Egerton.
No, it was the guy that was in Mr. Robot.
I'm going to watch that Carry All movie, or Carry On.
No, I'm not going to watch that. I'm not going to watch that.
Yeah. Why not? I figure, if it's a hit next year, we'll get, Carry On 2 Early Boarding.
Oh, well, they're already making Sharks in Paris.
Overhead, Carry On 2, Overhead Storage. Something like that.
Carry On 2, The Return of Sid James.
Have you seen that they're going to be doing a remake of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
I did see that.
Why?
I know, and it's
because you know why?
Eon Productions.
You know why?
And Amazon.
Because that last who was in the Wonka prequel? What was his name?
Chalamet.
Because that was a hit. They figured they could do another musical like.
Well, Eon Productions produced it originally, didn't they? They produced.
Was it Eon originally?
Yeah,
was it?
Yeah, they produced it originally.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't Cubby Broccoli. It was the other one, Harry Saltzman.
Oh yeah,
I think, it was based on. Wait, I mean, it was didn't Ian Fleming write Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
I don't know. I think
they did.
Oh, I see. I don't know.
There was another Bond. There was a Bond tie-in to Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. There was more than one Bond tie-in.
Speaking of Bond, I mean, Christmas.
Oh no, Albert Broccoli, Broccoli produced the original, and it was based on a novel by Ian Fleming. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, I mean, it's this time of year as well. Talking of Bond, the Bond movies go on for me. It's a happy time.
Oh, does it?
Just hammer through them. Yeah, I literally. I get the set out and I literally work from beginning to end.
Really?
Right. Yeah, I love it.
I can't watch Dr. No anymore because it's very slow. No, I recently watched it. I think it was a year or so ago, and I thought it was very slow. I still enjoyed it. Same thing with Russia with Love. It's very slow. It moves at a pace and stuff like that.
You can see, can't you, where with Dr. No, where they didn't have the budget that they had on the future movies, can't you? And you can see why they went for more of the character element.
But you can see all because it's on a Blu-ray. You can see all the mistakes. Like, you remember that scene where the two black guys attack James Bond in the warehouse, and James Bond flips one guy, and then when he flips him, he's white and he falls onto he's a white guy, white stunt guy. It's like, what the hell's
regenerating?
Yeah.
That was some flip. It made him change races before he landed.
That was, that's what, what I want Bond to get back with, about, like, because they started that with Connery, where he is ruthless, and I love when you talk about Dr. No, you've got that scene in it as well, where he's actually gonna, he's got his Felix Leiter with him as well. They're gonna break that girl's arm.
They were.
They were gonna do it. And also, I love how he's got the guy that comes in and he sat in the chair and the guy's fired all his bullets.
Strangways.
Yeah, that's it.
Strangways.
And he goes, he says the name of the pistol, and he goes, "You've had your 6," and then he just puts bullet in
Yeah.
him.
I mean,
You know, it's
honestly, I
great.
agree with Ian. I mean, I think of that set of the early Connerys, I think,
Mm.
except for Goldfinger, they're all
Yeah,
just really
Goldfinger's great.
slow. They're all
Yeah.
slow.
Yeah, they're
You
very slow.
disgust me, both of you. You really
Honestly,
well,
and I'm not. You're gonna think I'm just trolling you when I say this,
Mm.
but seriously, my favorite Connery Bond movie is Diamonds Are Forever.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I did
That's
like
it's
it.
a fun one.
it has a gorgeous theme song. I love the Vegas setting. It's unusual. You know,
But
the score is great.
John
He's
Barry,
kind of it's him kind of edging into the
terrible
more
climax, though.
into the Roger Moore silliness
Yeah.
a little bit.
So it was the time, the point where they started adding more humor.
Yeah.
And also, I love the henchmen, Mr. Kidd and Mr. Wint. So
Yeah,
they're
brilliant.
so funny in that film.
It's when he
Made
goes
me
over
laugh
the
so
boat, when he
much. Yeah.
puts the handle underneath his groin, and he's like, woo!
Yeah.
Flings it.
Yeah.
I mean, and even Jill St. John isn't bad. That's my favorite Connery Bond movie.
Really?
Yeah.
My
Oh,
name is Mr. Kidd, and this is
Yeah.
Mr. Wint. Hello. Brilliant.
And I think it has one of the most beautiful Shirley Bassey
Yeah, it's brilliant.
theme
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
for a Bond movie.
Mm.
What was it said? If God had wanted man to fly,
Why,
Mr.
he would have
Kidd.
given him wings, Mr. Kidd, Mr. Wint. Exactly.
I love it how, you know, like Connery like gets up to the
Yeah.
tall tower with the little, you know, little
Yeah.
gun that
Yeah.
fires, and he makes himself a little hammock and then kind of continues on up.
Yeah.
It's great.
And then
Yeah.
you got the two women in it who are the hit women who
Bambi and Thumper.
Bambi and Thumper. Yeah.
And you've got the totally too old,
You're on, Bambi.
the completely too old, ineffectual Felix Leiter.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that.
yeah.
When they're making Felix Leiter like a middle management type of guy, it's like, okay.
I
Yeah.
think the Felix Leiter for me that worked, it was the Felix Leiter. I forget the name of the actor, but the one from
Dennis, what's his
David
name?
Hedison.
Live and
Yeah,
Let
David
Die
Hedison. Yeah,
and
yeah.
License to Kill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that
It would have been great
worked.
if Hedison's schedule would have allowed him to be Felix Leiter like all the way throughout. But if to make License to Kill work, they had to bring back a Felix Leiter that the audience was more familiar with.
He was friends with Roger Moore. They're really good friends,
Yeah.
both of them. So I
Okay.
mean, that's the reason why he appeared. And he told the Bond people for License to Kill they should get him back. So it was Roger Moore that got him back into License to Kill as well.
Yeah,
So,
because I mean, you had to care about what happened to Felix Leiter in that movie, what happens to him and his wife, and you couldn't have done that if the actor wouldn't have been familiar.
Yeah.
I for me, it's The Spy Who Loved Me. That's my favorite. You know, I adore that film, and it's just like still to this day, it does make me laugh with Roger Moore just hanging the fish out of the car and dropping it on the beach. It's great.
I always say that Spy Who Loved Me, Goldfinger are pieces of art, right? And I don't say this lightly. I'm not even joking either, right? Those films are so good that I would hang them in the paintings. I would hang. Do you know? Look,
in the art gallery known
in
as
the art
Diaz.
gallery. Yeah, look, right. I tell you how good it is, right? Spy Love Me starts off, right? And what's that fantastic line? He says, what is it? Where is Bond now? And what is it? Well, he's in.
Yeah.
Was it? He's on
Assignment or something.
We'll tell him to pull out immediately, and he's on top of this woman.
Yeah,
I mean that's
and
genius.
It has a perfect last line too, keeping the British end up, sir.
Yeah. Now, what's that line where he goes? She goes, "Oh, James, I need you." So does England.
Yeah, right. But do you know what I love? And this is what
Genius.
I say about like gear porn and stuff. And as a kid, I adore it. Is, you know, from its time, he's getting his message and it's printing it out. Yeah. And you remember you used to get those guns and they used to do that.
Brilliant.
But I mean, and Spy Who Loved Me, I think actually, if that hadn't have done well, that would have been it for Bond, because Man from the Golden Gun underperformed. I don't know.
He put all his money into it, didn't he?
I don't know if Live and Let Die, how that did box office.
No, it did well. It did well.
It did. But if Spy Who Loved Me wouldn't have worked. That I think that they would have called it a day. I don't think they would have handled 2 underperforming movies in a
him
row.
and Saltzman separated, didn't they? At that moment,
Yeah,
in
they did.
time?
They
After
had a
Man from the Golden Gun,
yeah.
And then if you like John, if you like if you like Spy Who Loved Me, which is great, you can watch the remake, which was the next movie, which was Moonraker, which is basically a point for point remake of Spy Who Loved Me.
Spy Love Me, yeah. Well, Spy Love Me was a remake of Goldfinger, and Spy, what is it? And the other Moonraker was remake of. But I think
it's
Spy
like the
Love
guy
Me.
wants to. We have a villain who wants to depopulate
That's
the planet
right,
from an undersea base. What's your next plot? Oh, we have a villain who wants to depopulate the planet from space. Okay.
I just everything about Spy Love Me is art as far as I'm concerned. Everything.
And the theme
so
tune,
cool.
The theme tune was a monster hit over here. It was a monster hit in the US.
The best.
That was like you couldn't go anywhere on American radio without like every couple of hours they were playing that Carly Simon
one of the
song.
best. Yeah.
Thing is, during the Spy Who Loved Me, even when I was a kid, and I still can't decide now, Barbara Bach or Caroline Monroe, which one would I choose?
Caroline Monroe.
I would have flipped. I would have flipped those 2 roles. I would have made Barbara Bach the assassin and Caroline Monroe. It is a crime.
Sorry, I was wondering what you were saying about flipping there. And
no, Caroline Monroe, even in her scenes, it's like, but she could have done the main role.
Because she could act, and what's her name? Barbara Bach can't act at all. But I love that. I love that.
She's married to the Beatle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ringo Starr. Well, then she did Caveman after.
Yeah, it's what you call it. It's a piece of art, right? Even to the point where Jaws picks up that rock, he's about to throw it, and he just drops it on his foot. The laugh in the cinema was just incredible.
It's the bit after that when all the stuff falls on Jaws, and then Bond goes, Egyptian builders.
Do you think they should have brought him back?
Jaws? No, not at all. The only reason why they brought Jaws back was because all the kids were writing into the studios and saying they want Jaws back. And so that's why he came back. But I love the gag that he never dies in Spy Love Me. The car falls through the thing, he comes through the house and he's still alive. He gets kicked out the train, he's still alive.
But giving him that girlfriend, him that girlfriend in Moonraker was just like, here's to us.
I do. Like you say about he never dies.
But I love Moonraker.
I do love it where the car comes through the house and then he walks out and he looks at the owner and he just goes like that and wipes himself down and walks off.
But the thing is, though, the Derek Meddins was such a master at what he did. That house sequence was all of it was a model. When the car went through the thing, it was all a model. And also, I think they were one of the very first people to do camera shake to try and make out that was a camera in the boat. So when you see Stromberg's was it big submarine thing, the big circle thing, they actually added that into the effect, and they were trying to move it together with the movement of the boat and stuff, and they did it very successfully with digital. So they were really masters of what they did, the visual effects people in those days. They had to figure out ways of how to do it and stuff.
And I did like the fact that this is the first time since on Her Majesty's Secret Service they have that reference to Tracy, his wife. Because then he flinches, he goes all gets all angry, and then they did that scene in For Your Eyes Only later. But I like continuity.
He doesn't get angry. He just says, stop there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And she goes, you're very sensitive. And he goes, for certain things, yes. And then he leaves her.
Yeah.
So that's also why I like Dalton's License to Kill, because with Dalton, when he goes there and, she throws, what is it, a bit of a lingerie or something, the bouquet or whatever it is he catches. And because he says no to her, doesn't he? And then I love how Felix, he drives off and he's got the serious but sad.
And she says Felix, what's the matter? And
he was married once, but it was a long time.
Although I think License to Kill, I don't know why the actress who played Felix's wife, and she was only in 2 scenes, so it's fine. But why you get
Wasn't
the
for her.
actress who was basically known at that time? She was the replacement for Suzanne Summers on Three's Company. That's where she was known for. And I thought, why you would go that direction, even for like a small, because the Bond ones are so carefully crafted that they even take care with the small roles. It's like they should.
There was a cachet being in James Bond, wasn't there? I mean, I remember who's the girl that was in Tomorrow Never Dies, the one that was in Superman. What's her name?
Terry Hatcher.
Terry Hatcher.
Yeah.
They offered Terry Hatcher the part, and she didn't want to do it because she said it wasn't big enough. And then she spoke to her husband, and her husband said, "If you do it, then I can honestly say that I'm married to a Bond girl," and that's why she did it. That's what.
And her
it has a cachet. Do you know what I mean?
Her death
fell out with Brosnan as well, didn't she?
Her death was one of the more memorable scenes in that. The way Brosnan plays her death scene where he finds a body. That's one of the more memorable scenes in that movie.
I do like Brosnan.
Super Bond. Bond.
Oh yeah, the other day on one of the channels, GoldenEye was on, and I just ended up watching the back half. There you go.
I love GoldenEye. I really have a good time with GoldenEye.
The thing with the pens, where
where
Brosnan is like trying to count the number of times she's clicking. You can see Brosnan trying to go, is that 2? Was that 3? Whatever.
Tomorrow Never Dies is my favorite Bond.
Yeah, same here.
For Brosnan, because I think although I love GoldenEye to bits, I think where I was at the time with Tomorrow Never Dies, I was working at a cinema at the time, as I've said before. And I remember getting home and they'd given me the movie poster that was on display, and I had it, and it was a great poster with him holding the new Walther PPK, and it was great. But that movie was really well done. And I do like GoldenEye, and I think him and Sean Bean are really strong in that movie. And I do love the bit at the end that for the first time you'd always heard about double O's throughout the era.
006.
Yeah, exactly. But this one, you actually had, they pitched it that this was another 00 that rivaled Bond and was potentially better than Bond.
Well, I don't think he was.
That's what I liked about it.
He was a double agent, wasn't he? He was basically working for. He was Russian in the original.
No, but he was a 00 because his parents came over with the Russians, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because, and they were killed, so they didn't screen that, so he became a 00. And then he was working behind the scenes to betray them anyway.
The reason why the Tomorrow Never Dies works so well is because Pierce Brosnan was now more comfortable playing Bond. You can feel it in every fiber of those frames where he's in. He's very comfortable with the guy who played Q. Totally right across the board. He was definitely James Bond. In GoldenEye, there are a couple of scenes in it where he was overplaying it. And I always remember the scene where he's on the boat. He climbs on the boat and he's wearing that awful costume. I don't know what the frick he was wearing. He was exaggerating every move, everything. And really, you needed the director to go, look, mate, calm down. Do you know what I mean? You're just walking across the room. Do you know?
All of the Brosnan Q stuff was in all of the movies. Was great.
I think what I'd also say of Brosnan, if you compare GoldenEye to Tomorrow Never Dies, he really bulked up for Tomorrow Never Dies. You see the two, and he's a lot skinnier in GoldenEye.
He didn't have a chance to do anything though. In GoldenEye.
And he's built in Tomorrow Never Dies, isn't he? You know, and he's like, I like the fact that you kind of got with him, and he was trying to take it back to, you know, he's a ruthless assassin. You know,
he was in between though, wasn't he? He actually said that when he got offered the part, he thought the best way to play it was in between Connery and Roger Moore, and that's exactly what he did. That's what he did. So, you know, with the comedy and with the seriousness as well. I love the girl in GoldenEye, and the girl that was
Isabella
Scott.
I thought she was gorgeous.
Yeah, she was.
But there wasn't the romance in the second one felt forced. I felt, you know, with Michelle Yeoh and him, it just felt a bit.
I agree.
Off a bit, but but a
great. Tomorrow Never Dies, because the music is always kind of what I associate with all the movies. I would have made the Katie Lang song at the end. I would have moved that and made that the title song. I would have flipped.
Yeah,
I would have it was Sheryl Crow. I would have put that at the end and put the Katie Lang because I thought that was a better song.
Yeah, I think Brosnan, I mean, Die Another Day was terrible, but there were elements of it I still quite like about Die Another Day. I mean, I did like the intro is you actually see Bond imprisoned for a long period of time.
That was
in this
awful,
one.
though.
But you know, the
I remember, John, that one.
I remember
you telling me, John, at one point that your favorite Bond scene was that CGI windsurfing one. You said you liked that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You said that was your favorite Bond scene of all time, right?
That was terrible.
It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal, and the invisible car was my favorite.
That was the one before that, though. The one before that.
The
was
World
better.
Is Not Enough. Actually,
it was okay.
Is good, but
okay.
I thought that the
villain was boring.
Who was the guy with the bullet in his brain? That character was weird.
Yeah, him. Yeah, he was terrible. Yeah. But that's the first time he actually shot the leading lady. He killed the leading lady, didn't he? Shot her
the idea of making who you thought was a sympathetic character, the villain, that was very good.
Yeah, I love the beginning sequence with the little boat and chasing around in the Thames.
Oh,
it's really exciting.
25-minute opening scene.
Yeah, absolutely
in World
brilliant.
Is Not Enough. Yeah,
Q's fishing boat.
It's like you're sitting there going, "Did I miss the opening song?" It's half an hour into the movie already.
It's really good. It's really good. I love the bit where it goes underwater and he straightens his tie. And as he goes,
well, he did that also. Didn't he do that on the tank in GoldenEye? That was his little thing where he's
I think you know that. The World Was Not Enough I still enjoy, but I think when you look back at that now, it was starting to fade at that point. And that's not a criticism of Brosnan, because I actually think Brosnan was nailing the role at this point, but I just think the writing wasn't up to
the
par.
writing's terrible. Yeah.
And the Christmas Jones character was totally misconceived.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, everybody says that, right? But the thing with that is that they knew it was going to be a joke. They would not have cast her if they didn't know the whole thing was, and the whole thing's a joke. And people are like, you know, going.
I know that whole character was retro
as a joke
after to get to the last line. Then it was written back.
No, it wasn't. Look, right.
What is it? She says,
"Yeah, go on.
Someone's going to have." I better
get
those nuclear weapons back, or someone's going to have my ass.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Yeah, one thing at a time."
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The reason why they did that is because they knew the reaction they were going to get from that, and it was basically played as a joke. But a lot of people, when they criticize that, they like, "Oh, why did you cast that person? You know, she doesn't look like a scientist." That was the whole point. And I think what's the girl's name again who played that character?
Denise Richards.
I don't think she got it either. She thought she was coming in to do a serious role. It's like, look in the mirror, love. Do you know what I mean?
She was dressed more like Lara Croft.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how dumb is she coming onto the set dressed like Lara Croft, right? Thinking that people are thinking, I mean, you know, the writing was on the wall, love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, again, it was this just after Starship Troopers? World Is Not Enough.
Starship Troopers,
so.
That's
Starship
when she broke through, didn't she? With that,
and World Is Not Enough was 99.
Yeah. Again, that's a film I love. You know, I enjoy Starship Troopers. It's good fun.
It is. Like, that movie has got its high points. The villain was dull as ditch water.
They're remaking that, right? Aren't they remaking that? Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers.
Why?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've heard that in the last couple of weeks that they're rebooting Starship Troopers.
Why?
Because it's an IP. Because it's an IP.
I
know, Ian. I'm not. You're absolutely. I totally agree with you 1,000% on the why, but because it's an IP, and like John said, it's an IP. Everything's just trolling through IPs now. There's no
point in doing that. You're not going to make more money doing that. It's like when they remade Total Recall. It didn't do very well.
And probably, I would say, because they probably think that the CGI has advanced enough from 1997 that they could do more interesting things, I would think.
It didn't even go to Mars in that one.
Yeah.
Did it? I didn't go to Mars.
No, I was talking about Starship Troopers.
Oh.
I mean, Total Recall, going on to that as well. You're right. I mean, I
probably think they can do more interesting CGI bugs now for Starship Troopers.
Probably.
What I love, going back to that, what I love about that is it's just Villeneuve just being over the top with it all the action, all the gore and everything. I love that film. You know, I remember when that came out when I was working at the cinema, and people were walking out of that film and they were buzzing about it because they were just saying it was, you know, you could hear them talking. It was fun. It was a good, fun movie to watch, you know, and that's what you got. And, you know, I don't need a remake. I love that. I really do. And I'll keep watching that again and again. But what's it connected to? Is it, I never knew. Is it a comic? Is it a comic strip originally, or is it a novel? Starship.
I don't know.
It was a novel from Robert Heinlein.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so because they've turned it into a game recently as well, I believe, as well, which was doing quite well. But
I don't know. I don't think it's a remake. They shouldn't remake bad stuff. They shouldn't remake things like that. That was good and made a lot of money. You know, the problem is that people like us of our age that know Starship Troopers, you know, we're going to be the only people that go and see it. The kids of today, they wouldn't care if we remade it, and they, you know, hardly anybody would go and see it. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, if they're remaking bad stuff, now's the time for them to remake the Avengers movie.
I don't know.
I think still get Hugh Grant.
He's too old. He's too old. When he was in his prime, that's when they should have got him. He has the same sense of humor as Patrick McNee. That's the thing, and it would have been perfect. But it does. It's not going to work today. Today we don't have any stars anymore, as far as I can tell. They've all kind of abandoned ship, or they don't bring in the money as they used to. You know. So it's a very different game today.
Well, say what you will about the Avengers movie, it's the only time that you'll see Sean Connery, James Bond, dressed up in a teddy bear outfit.
Yeah, it is awful, isn't it? It's absolutely awful. The Avengers TV show was genius piece of TV making, as far as I was concerned. I don't know. I mean, you don't know it, John, do you? But it's worth
like I was saying yesterday.
Start with the Emma Peel. Start with the Emma Peel stuff, and then work backwards to the Honor Blackman.
Okay.
They had some weird stories in there. They'd pick a subject and they'll just go way over the top with it.
And I agree with Ian's perspective that the last season with Tara King wasn't nearly as good. Probably
it was all right.
They bring in, but it did have a lot of good scripts, but they did bring in the boss, and you should never see who they're working for.
Well,
and all of that.
And I agree with you on that. With the British version, okay, what it was that we knew who Steed was, we knew who Emma Peel was, but we didn't know who they were working for, and it was a mystery, and we didn't care who they were working for either. All we knew that they were there to make what's wrong right in these weird stories. Do you know what I mean? Like there was one where I think Ronnie Barker owned a toy store or some nonsense like that. It was just the whole thing was just really weird. 60s.
And there was an episode, John, where they shrink down.
Where they got shrunk,
Where they got shrunk.
Yeah. Seriously, it is so.
It was fantasy. It was a lot of sci-fi and fantasy.
Yeah, it was. I remember that episode where Emma and Steed, they when it was machine and they got their bodies got swapped with these two other people. Do you remember? And they had to try and get back into their bodies. So that's the kind of stories that you're
sitting there going, I thought this was a spy show. It's like,
no. I mean, thing is, I'm at a point now, and like you were saying earlier, Gary, you know, I listen to my friends and their recommendations. So the fact that you two have said to me, and Dan said as well, that, you know, he loves the Avengers.
You don't want to listen to Dan. He likes Space Baby. So
no.
Sorry, Dan.
No. The thing about, I mean, the Avengers, even looking back, I think the Avengers even now is considered, you know, one of the kind of cultural touchstones.
One of the
British
best shows. Yeah, it is.
You know, not only it was how America thought British was in the 60s, you know, and it was well done. It was fondly remembered. And I think it was one of the defining, I mean, Diana Rigg was always dressed up in the latest fashions. I mean, it was very current.
But you knew she was going to fight when she appeared in her cat suit. Every time she appeared in a cat suit, you knew she was going to have a big fight with somebody.
And the
ratings went up.
They even John, as I said, Honor Blackman was on it for, I think, 2 seasons, and then she left to go do Goldfinger. And there's an episode, I think during the Emma Peel era, where Steed gets a postcard from Kathy Gale, who was
Yeah, she
Honor
does.
Blackman's
Yeah, he does,
character,
yeah.
and he says, "Oh, I wonder what she's doing in Fort Knox."
Yeah. That also,
You know, and it's a very fun little meta thing.
great.
but they did that. They
Yeah,
did that
that's- I
twice,
like
didn't
all
they?
that stuff.
They did. What was interesting about it was that even though Steed and Emma, it seems like they were kind of bordering on a romance. The truth was that Emma was married, right, and
Yes.
Steed wasn't, right. And at the end, in the last episode with Emma, she says goodbye to Steed. And what made me laugh was she runs out, she comes out the apartment and she jumps into this car with a guy wearing the same Steed hat. It looked back of his head, it looked like Steed that she was
Yes.
married to. And then they drive
Yeah.
off. And I thought that was quite
Brilliant.
funny. So,
And the thing about
Yeah.
and the difference between it was always like, oh, are they not, whatever. With the Tara King thing, she's absolutely clearly like in love with Steed all throughout, and so they play up the kind of romance thing, which is.
But he was
kind of,
like her dad.
yeah,
You know what I mean? At
yeah.
that moment in time, it felt like a dad and daughter relationship. That's what it felt
And
like. to
well,
me.
that's what New Avengers was. Clearly,
Yeah.
the Joanna Lumley
Yeah.
pattern, that was clearly a father-daughter thing in
Yeah.
the New Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I think I said to you, I watched like UFO. I watched
Oh,
that all the
God.
way through.
Couldn't stand
And-
that.
Yeah,
Oh.
and I was like, I enjoyed it, but it's like
Mm.
I don't know if UFO was a co-production. I need to look it up.
The only TV show that ever made me want to work on the moon.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
with those purple-headed
You
girls.
betcha. You betcha.
what I didn't get, what I didn't get about that, right, from
Mm.
watching it was they're wearing purple wigs when on the
Yeah.
moon,
Right.
but they take them off when they're off shift.
Yeah. I think it was like
I didn't
maybe the
understand
gravity or
that.
something. You had to wear a purple rig to deal with the moon's gravity or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Good to know that. Good to know. But I mean,
No.
I mean,
And hey,
I
you know,
like-
Ian, just watch the first episode of UFO where one of the women
walking down
is
the
coming
corridor.
off shift, and there's a scene in the changing room where they
Yeah.
do all the dialogue, and she's changing out of her uniform into her undies
they
and putting
did it-
something else
they
on.
did it
It's like, oh,
deliberately.
more of this, please.
But
Oh,
the
I
thing
mean,
is,
it's great.
the thing is though that what would describe British drama
That was
at the time,
pre-Baywatch.
which is original, is if you think about The Prisoner. This is the kind of stuff
yeah.
that was coming through the British drama at the time. If you think about The Prisoner and how weird The Prisoner was, The Avengers was an extension of that, but it wasn't that weird. It wasn't as weird as The Prisoner. It was palatable, but it had all the quirks and the intricacy and the weird kind of weirdness. And that's the reason why The Avengers is so well liked, because it's so original. And the same thing with The Persuaders was well ahead of its time.
Yes.
The Saint was well ahead of its time with Roger Moore.
And The Persuaders had that.
Persuaders
had
was
this
great. Yeah.
gorgeous
Yeah.
theme from John Barry on
yeah,
The Persuaders. Yeah.
Yeah. To go as far as to say The Professionals, obviously that came out because Starsky and Hutch, but it was a very different animal to Starsky and Hutch. It was very, very different. So at that moment in time, Britain was thinking about their culture, but they were also thinking about original ideas to push the British culture forward. But what have we got today?
Well,
Crap.
and again, that's an interesting discussion to be had,
Jinx
because
Monsoon.
you know, because we talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
A bit, and it's like, well, back then they would, if you pitched your script and it was a decent script, the chances were you had more chance of that getting greenlit, and there was good writers coming through creating good shows. But now I don't think we have the good writers.
You go back and look at the writers, for example, who worked on things like The Saint,
Corrections, or
who worked on The Saint or whatever. You have Malcolm Hulk, Dennis Spooner, a lot of these.
But it was the
great
same
writers.
people, though. It was the
Yeah.
same people, though. That's the thing. It was more or less. It was like the start of TV. You know, when they started doing Doctor Who, that was like the birth of TV. That kind of black and white thing, whatever. But they had the what I'm saying is they had their own voice. English stuff in the 60s had their own voice. When you look at the Avengers, when you look at persuaders. They were literally aiming for more than just the island of England. They were aiming for the world. But today, right, they're obsessed. They think that the majority of people that we meet are trans.
Yeah,
or that's what they would like for society to be. And then now that's all they're making. This kind of nonsense.
You're right. And I would also say, to add to that as well, mate, I would say that they also hate the UK and what we stand for and our history. So they talk it down, and that's another problem. But
well, so let me ask you guys, like, what's like a newer show, really, of any genre, that you both have seen that you thought was just really well written? Leave the acting aside, leave the production values aside, but just was really well written.
I haven't, to be honest with you.
Life on Mars.
Because
Life on Mars.
What? Yeah, I mean, would you say that's recent?
Well, okay, no, that's fair. Recently. I mean, say in the last like 10 years, say.
Yeah, 10, Life on Mars was very well written.
Okay.
But the thing is, Life on Mars was based on the actual tone of the Sweeney, but with comedic things in it.
Yeah.
So basically,
Dolly Knockers.
It was kind of the Sweeney, but it was kind of brought slightly up to date. But it had a time traveling guy in it. Well, I'd say time travel, but it wasn't really time.
Now, did you like the sequel series that they did?
No, I didn't watch it. I watched one episode. It was enough for me.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Ashes to Ashes, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's just a big rip off of the last one, but with a woman.
Yeah, it was, and
that's all it was.
I mean, nothing recently has really jumped out at me to make me think, oh yeah,
that's really sad.
Really no, there is. Luther. I thought Luther was brilliant.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well written.
You mean writing
wise? Writing wise.
So we're talking last 10 years. So
no. But
within the last 10 years.
I've always been back and forth on Luther, but I should give that a try.
I mean, Luther was I think one of the very first horror detective things on TV, as far as I can tell.
I think I know a lot of people have. Actually, tell a lie. Tulsa King, I've really enjoyed.
No, that's not English. That's not English.
Oh, okay. You want English.
Okay, I've been going back and forth on that one. Should I give that one a try?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Have you watched both seasons?
Yes, I have.
Are you guys caught up? Yeah. Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah.
I like Stallone. I like Stallone.
He signed up for more as well, isn't he?
And I've heard that they're already talking about doing some kind of a spin-off as well.
Oh boy!
Wouldn't surprise me, because isn't that Taylor Sheridan?
It only has to hit the bare minimum of popularity before they start having spin-off meetings. Unfortunately,
I think UK wise, for me, I've not seen anything that's made me really think, oh yeah, that was a banger. I can't wait to watch.
That's really unfortunate that you guys can't name a show where the writing stood out. No, I know, but I mean something, and I'll try both of those, but where more recently where the writing jumped out at you. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I think I would say that I grew up and my go-to was always the BBC. Even if I had a Sky or cable package, I would watch the BBC because the BBC shows and dramas were top quality. Now it's awful. It is, it's bottom of the barrel kind of quality in my opinion.
Sorry guys, I'll be back in a minute. Sorry, mate.
Yeah. It's bottom of the barrel.
I'm going to try a Luther. I think I've always been back and forth on that, but I got to give that a try. Yeah, can we also say hello and welcome and many thanks to everybody in the chat. Hello to all of you. We love you guys. Garbage, TARDIS Spider, everybody who's in the chat. Thank you for. Now somebody says Saturday and Sunday Britcoms and mysteries. Oh,
hey,
I guess if they mean, do you mean on PDS? So is that? I guess assume that's TARDIS Spiders in the US, I think, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah.
I think that is that like. Well, I know that. A lot of the stations run like Father Brown, Death in Paradise. I watch those two. Sister Boniface, I love. There's a new one, Ludwig, with David. I can't think of his last name, which is great. And you've got to watch that if you haven't. I don't think it's come to the BritBox yet or PBS. Oh, great. I'm in Southern California, TARDIS Spider. So we're on opposite ends of the country. Look for, if you like the mysteries, track down Ludwig. It's 6 episodes. It'll fit right into your wheelhouse if you like that kind of stuff. And it's already been renewed for another season because it was such a big hit, but it's great.
You know, I think what I'm crying out for at the moment as well is I want a sci-fi show that really grabs me with, and I'm going to say it, Doctor Who, but I want it to get back. I want a Doctor Who show where it's creepy monsters round the corner, you know, coming out of the darkness, you know, and so, you know, like for me, it's like the Cybermen, you know, Tomb of the Cybermen coming through, you know, it's just great, you know. I need to see stuff like that again.
So if somebody wants to come in and elbow RTD aside to give us that, that would be great.
Thank you very much. That would be great. Appreciate that.
Run in, do like a football block on him, knock him out, and then take over.
Yeah, and again, I've never been one of these with Doctor Who to say, oh, you know, it's got to be a British writer or producer. Give it to someone that's got quality. That is
I don't think they're ever going to give Doctor Who to an America like Straczynski. I don't think they're ever going to do that.
Yeah,
I just don't. I mean,
for me, I always wanted actually for Peter Jackson to throw his hat into the ring and say, yeah, I'll produce Doctor Who, because the thing about Peter Jackson, I know obviously the War for the Rohirrim or whatever it's called, animated, hasn't done too well, and The Hobbit, you know, has got mixed reviews. But the thing about Peter Jackson is he's a massive Doctor Who fan, so he would respect the history of the show.
Are we back to Doctor Who now?
Well,
just talking about, I wish Peter Jackson would have.
Oh yeah, what would you think if Peter Jackson came in to produce? That would be great.
No, I don't think. Look, I think a Doctor Who should stay well within the English vicinity. I don't think we should have an American producing or any. No. I think it should solely be British.
I don't think American. You ever will.
Yeah, American directors definitely bring them in to if they want to direct and stuff.
And like I totally agree with TARDIS Spider in the chat. Separate producer, just like Hitchcliffe and Holmes or Letts and Barry Letts. And
no, look. That's old. Yeah, a lot of people say that, but look. Right, there's nothing wrong with a writer's room. There's nothing wrong with calling it a showrunner. It's the same thing. It's the same job. You just call it under different names. In those days, they were showrunners, right? They were just called producers at the time. So it doesn't matter what you call them; they're doing the same job. But if I was in charge of Doctor Who, I would have a table of people before we even start shooting, and have some of the best writers, or the writers that I know have imagination, and we'll talk about stories and we'll develop it, and, you know, and we'll appoint someone to write it. That's the way it should be, because then you'll like if you have Russell T's just writing every episode of, you know, it's going to be tainted with what he.
Yeah, exactly.
You need
it's
variety,
kind of like you know, I used to love Monk, and sometimes if I would when I would borrow the things from the library to watch, I would watch the behind the scenes, and they would have a writer's room where they would map out all the potential list ideas, concepts, whatever, decide which one as a group they'd flesh it out, and then they would give it to one of them to do the script. But the rest of it was like a group, you know, think about developing the concepts and all of that.
I mean, I've said before as well, you know, the UK is always downwind of the United States, and I think with the current political situation with Trump being elected and what's coming from you guys, you know, you crafty so-and-sos, but I think this goes into production of shows and movies. And I think what I found very interesting as well, and I think I saw it on Nerdrotic, but they were saying about the fact that Disney are shifting focus now, and they're starting to go back into the center.
Because you mean shifting focus?
Yeah, Marvel. Yeah, it's not Lucasfilm yet. Yeah,
shifting focus to something that actually makes a profit.
Exactly that, and I think they've just paid out.
Not their concerned. Making a profit's not their concern, because they're being supported by the DEI, BlackRock, and all them. So it's none of their concern if they don't make money on product, because their parks and stuff like that makes just like the bed, isn't it? It's the mattress that holds up everything else.
Yeah.
So,
but I think there's also coming down the road. I mean, in the UK in the last couple of weeks, they've announced that permanently they're banning puberty blockers on kids.
Yes,
So
good.
that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. But there's also, I believe, in the United States, and Gary, if you've seen it, you might know more than I do, but there's a Supreme Court case coming at some point about the fact that, you know, saying that you don't agree with someone who says they're trans is not discrimination.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a ruling. No, exactly.
You're right.
But
It never was.
Silly, it's got to this level.
This is where everything is shifting to. So I think, you know, I just got to say really quickly, The Cleaner, which I said is now on my must-see list. I really want to see this. I'm not kidding. You know who's directing that?
Who? Martin Campbell.
Martin Campbell, who did GoldenEye and Casino Royale.
Yeah, but you know why he's directing it, don't you? Because he's not getting any work.
He needs a new patio.
Look, he's a good director. He's
a great director.
He directed a couple of episodes of The Professionals, right? That's where he started from. I think he wasn't born in England. He was born, I don't know.
And he did the Zorro movies.
Yeah, he did the Zorro movie. He's a very good director. He's a very accomplished director. But it just goes to show that he made The Prodigy with the girl, I can't remember the girl that was in Die Hard 4, the Chinese girl that was in Die Hard 4. He made that film. That film flopped, and he made Green Lantern. That flopped, and he's making this film. This film will probably flop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he needs to live. He needs to live. That's why he's doing these. I'm
pretty sure Daisy. He doesn't speak for us.
No. Look, I'm pretty sure Martin Campbell. I have a total 100% respect for Martin Campbell. I think he's a brilliant director. But you can't tell me that when that script came across his desk and he read it, he didn't think Die Hard.
Of course.
Did he just go? He go, like, this is like Die Hard, and it's probably going to be cheesy as hell.
And my guess
and hold on, and he go, wait a moment, don't I owe money for that bill and I have to pay for that house? I'll do it. Do you know what I mean? That's how
it is. It's what you said before.
That's how it is.
It's about a director. You know, they have to make ends meet. So if you get given a woke script, you go, oh, I'll do it. I might not be passionate about it, but I'll do what you want me to do. Whereas if it's your own script, you're more passionate about it. But again, you're not going to get all that funding, as you now well know. It's a case of they have to make ends meet.
Well, I'll let you guys know how it is, because clearly I'm the only one that's actually going to go and see it.
You know what, right? I know exactly what you mean, right? Like, I tell you, right, I directed a film called Fallen Angels, which is on the Rebecca Gold channel if you want to watch it.
Check it out, everyone.
And seriously, it's not my film. Okay, it was a slasher movie. It was shot during the 80s. I think it was during the 80s or 2000s, and it was when slasher movies were really high, and the script was awful. And you know, and I said the producer that hired me. He said, so what do you think of the script? And I'm like, my eyes rolling. I'm like, yeah, it's good. Do you know what I mean? And I know it's rubbish, right? But I need to pay bills. So I took it on. I did the best I could, right? I think you can't fault the direction in that. But the film is rubbish. It's
what you do, you say something. It's
not my film.
You say something interesting, but that's not a lie. You say something like, "Oh, it's very daring," like something like that. That's not really a lie, but you know
what's happening right now. Everybody is. Ian is just setting the scene to announce to us that he's directing a season 2 Doctor Who story with Shooty.
With Shooty. No, I mean the thing is,
more tears.
If look, you have to look at it this way, right? If I got hired to direct an episode of Doctor Who and the script was atrocious, and they were going to pay me, I have to be a professional about it. I'll do it. That's it. End of story. I won't argue with anybody. Same thing with that film as well. Some of the things that the producers suggested were just absolutely that. I tell you one thing, right? I was shooting this film, and I was kept trying to get away from the producer because he kept bothering me.
Yeah.
And then one day, right, we had this crane shot where these cars were driving into the school, and the crane would come up, and and you see the cars driving into the school, right? So I tell the crane guy to put the crane here, because we're shooting in England, and this is meant to be America. If you put the crane here, you'll see the street, and you can tell that we're in England. So put it there. So I went for a piss, right? and where the loo is, it's like ages away. So I had to walk all the way there, and I came back, and they'd moved the crane. right? And I said, why did you move the crane? And the producer and the guy said, the producer told me to move it. So I went up to the producer and I said, why did you move the crane? And he went, because it looks better. This shot looks better this way. And I'm like, I tell you what, mate, I'm going home now. Good luck. And I literally walked off. And then because we were staying in the school, I was really pissed off. This is how arrogant I was in those days. And I was packing my suitcase and stuff like that.
Oh, no.
And the taxi came for me and the producer came running and he goes, where are you going? I'm going home. He's obviously, you don't want me to direct this film. And he goes, what do you want? What do you want? And I went, okay, double my wage and I'll come back.
I want my crane
I
shot.
want you to double my wage and I want you to get off the set when I'm directing because there can only be one director.
Wow, good.
And he said, oh, I can't agree to that. And I put my foot into the taxi. Then he went, okay. And that's how I ended up directing the movie. But
I just want to point out to everyone,
I want Ian as my negotiator forever.
No, but the thing is, though, the point I'm trying to make is that I was young, right, and arrogant, right, when I made that film. Okay, not that young, 20s, late 20s, right, or 30s, I can't remember. I was young and I was arrogant. Right? I would never do that now. That's the thing. If somebody gave me a script and they were willing to pay me a good wage and it was awful, I'd do it. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't argue with anyone.
So John, when Ian gets a knock on his door and they want him to direct The Cleaner 2, he's going to think that the original is the best thing since fish and chips.
No, but the thing is, you can only look. This is the thing, right? If somebody the last film I directed, where I met Ella, the who's playing Rebecca Gold, it was awful, right? And I kept trying to persuade the producer, look, the script doesn't work. Can we not do this? Can we not do that? They weren't listening. So you can only try your best. And at the end of the day, the film turned out awful. What else
I've got to say, talking about Rebecca Gold, that your key art in your trailer for Rebecca Gold 2, her eyes are mesmerizing.
What key art?
Her eye, the art in the trailer.
That's not done by me.
Yeah, but her eyes in that are mesmerizing, where it says Rebecca Gold 2 and it's just her with the gun. You can't focus on anything but her eyes.
She had me at hello.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, right, people that do YouTube criticism on movies, right, seriously, they have to try and make one to actually have a good appraisal of what they're talking about. I've seen so many criticisms on different films where they've completely got it wrong. They talk about the way they make films and they've got and also the one that really annoys me, as John would know, is when somebody says that film was really well directed. And my question is, how do you know it was? Point out to me something that was well directed, please. You know, they're based on the amount of enjoyment that they have, but was it well directed? That's the question. So anyway, I'll stop there.
Exactly. No, that's fine. And I think it's a good time to explain to everybody that to get Ian on the show, normally I have to coax him with about 15 jammy dodges before he even agrees to come on.
I got 16 today.
We also have to negotiate with the directors union to have him make these appearances.
Yeah. And I think Christmas wise shows again, I don't know what it's like in the US, Gary, but the only real standout for me is Wallace and Gromit. There's not anything else that
I wish that was showing here over Christmas. I mean, I'm probably going to have to be either
the Netflix.
I'm going to
worldwide.
Well, Netflix is not until January, but I think I'll have to go on iPlayer or something. But
Gary,
when I was, go ahead, Ian.
Yeah. So with me and John, right? Obviously speaking for John, on Christmas Day, we'd sit there, stuff ourselves with turkey and crap, and then open up the Quality Streets tin and start going through that as well. Sitting on your settee, watching the TV, watching crap, because your stomach is so full you can't move.
Right.
You stuff yourself with chocolate. And so the stuff that's on TV. Yeah, the stuff that's on TV in the old days, it used to be we're watching BBC, watching the Generation Game or some whatever. But now, today, we're watching Netflix. Right. We're seeing what film. So when you are finished eating your food and stuff, do you just do that as well? Do you or do you go to the cinema? Because I know the cinema is open on Christmas Day, right?
Yeah, no, the cinema's open. The cinema never closes, but there's no good. There's no
channel
Christmas
that you
movies
watch
opening. But what I'll probably be doing is I'll probably be watching, like you guys like videos, the stuff I
Oh,
like
right.
versus the
Okay.
stuff that's just on. But here's the thing. When
Mm.
I was growing up, I remember almost near constantly from Thanksgiving through Christmas, every night
Yeah.
was like a different like variety show
Oh, wow.
or like a Rankin Bass or an animation every single night, whether it was like Bob Hope or Perry Como or Andy Williams or Bing
Wow.
Crosby. For like a whole month, every night there was something like really Christmassy on, like variety show, whatever. And now, obviously, there's no more variety shows. And even like shows like the Peanuts or Rudolph or whatever, those
Yeah.
have navigated to cable, whatever. And it's so split. Nobody goes to the big networks. Oh, what's the big Christmas? Christmas is kind of like a the
Really?
Hallmark Christmas movies have kind of taken it over. But there's no, at least this is what I can remember, there's no like single show which everybody rallies to in terms of, wow, did you watch that last night? It's too split. It's too segmented.
Okay. So Gary, so when you were young, right? And we still are, of course. What was the channel that everybody used to watch? Was it CBS or NBC?
There were three.
Or
there were three.
Yeah,
There
right.
were CBS, NBC, and ABC. There used to be
Right.
variety shows on all of them. Bob Hope was always on NBC.
Right.
Bing Crosby, I think, was on NBC. A lot of the Rankin Bass stuff was either on CBS or ABC.
Right.
Some of the animes, like Rudolph was always on CBS. Peanuts was always on CBS. ABC had a lot of the stuff like Year Without a Santa Claus or Santa Claus is Coming to Town, some of those. There wasn't, NBC had a lot of the variety shows like Andy Williams, Perry Como, and I don't remember, there was like special Christmas episodes, like a very special Christmas episode of whatever. It didn't do that because it was all about the variety shows and the animation. Later on, you would have like, oh, here's the Perfect Strangers Christmas episode or something like that, or the Chips Christmas episode, or A-Team never did a Christmas episode.
No, they never did. No.
They should have.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But it was never, there was never like one or two channels like over there where the schedule gets published. Even the publication of the schedule is an event. And then you decide, you get out your notepad and you decide, oh, here's what my Christmas.
Yeah.
It was never like that here.
Yeah, I think I just think it's been lost a bit, really, isn't it? Just how special Christmas is, and the programming. But I know a lot of it in the UK. It changed forever, really, when Sky came along, and Sky literally, they had the Sky movie package, and you could get the premiere all throughout the year. So those times when BBC and ITV in the UK, they would have on the Christmas premieres. That was massive for your school holidays, because you were like, right, okay, I know on Christmas Day I'm going to get Raiders of the Lost Ark as an example, and the whole family would sit for the premiere. You don't.
Well, and the thing about it is, back in the days, I would almost say even before VCRs and stuff, where you basically had to sit down and watch it, because if you missed it once, you missed it.
Yeah,
you missed it.
I bet you're really happy that you sat down to watch the Star Wars Holiday Special, aren't you, mate?
It was terrible. Let me ask another question to you guys.
With the unblinking Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
He doesn't blink in that whole show.
Can I ask you guys a question? Okay, so there are traditions in my house that every Christmas that we do. I mean, not so much now because we're all a lot older, but for instance, right, we always used to get new pajamas, right, when we were kids. So my parents used to buy us new pajamas, and used to have new sheets on the bed and stuff like that. Also, my dad always used to play the same record on Christmas morning when we came down and we're going to open the present. It was Joy. I think it was called Joy. Something. The World of Christmas. Whatever. Bing Crosby. It was like one of the best-selling records before Thriller took it over. Obviously, in the world, he used to play that every Christmas morning. And my mum always used to cook a fry up there's only one time in the year she used to cook up fry up, which was Christmas morning. We used to eat, instead of cereal, we used to eat eggs and bacon and stuff like that. And we all were sitting at the table, obviously salivating because there was all the presents under the tree, waiting for everything to be eaten, and then we opened the presents. Now those were
Yeah.
the traditions in my house. What was the traditions in you guys'
tradition? I mean, traditions for mine. I mean, it was the parents putting me and my brother in a ring and making us fight to the death for the last quality street.
Really?
Christmas
Don't have a brother
Thunderdome.
anymore, do you?
Christmas Thunderdome.
It's like with the Star Trek music.
Yeah, just like in Star Trek, John and his brother, they put him in these big shock collars, like in a Star Trek episode.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think
was there any traditions that you guys?
I think the main traditions really were we always sat down and we would watch together. We would watch Christmas movies, and Scrooge was one of them that it was on, and we'd watch that. Oh, I forget. There's been a few, but it changed for a while to the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
it was great. But
was there anything unusual that you used to do? Like again, with me, I don't know anyone that has new pajamas on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I mean,
does your mom still give you your new pajamas?
Yeah, she bought it yesterday.
Because Christmas should be all about tradition. It's great.
Yeah. He's doing a live show where he's going to show his Shooty Loves You Loads pajamas.
Yeah, give me some love.
Honey, I'm here. No, your mom, you know what? Yeah. I really hope that your mom gives you a good luck, everybody.
Yeah, well, that'd be great,
top.
Yeah.
That would be great. That would be perfect. You know, it was just me and my mom and my dad. Right. So we would go a lot of times we go like to midnight mass on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, we do too. Yeah.
And then just get up the next morning. We would do the presents before the food because my mom would make then a big Christmas spread for lunch. We generally have, you know, people might come over later on, you know, and say hello. But the big thing, and this wasn't really our household, but it was the city did. And it was a great tradition. I think they still do it. What the city did, because it wasn't a big metropolis, but it wasn't a small town. It was kind of like middle.
Right.
Yeah. But they would have every year, they would have the fire department would have a big, like a fire truck and then a big Santa sleigh. And they would go around every street in the city. And when they got to you, there would be Santa, and the firemen would come out with these bags of like, you know, peanuts or oranges and candy and stuff. And so even before it got to you, you could hear a far away for the siren, and you knew that Santa was coming. If you hear the siren, and it might take maybe 15, 20 minutes or whatever, but eventually here would be coming Santa right down your street, right in front of your house. You know, and then you'd wave to Santa, and all the kids would be standing out on the driveway, you know, waiting for Santa, you know, and the fire truck. And we'd be waving, and then the firemen would get off of their fire truck and would give us the bags of goodies and stuff to all the kids, and we'd be waving to Santa because he always came right in front of your house.
I mean, UK, mate. I mean, the only thing that I'd say sort of tradition as well, it was couple of weeks before, Mum and Dad used to take us all to see the like the nearest town where they had like the Father Christmas Carnival, you know, and it was they'd come through and like, you know, they'd have a truck that they had, you know, Father Christmas strapped to the back of it and lit it up with like bulbs that would make, you know, Ed Miliband in the UK cry if he saw that, you know, and they do that and you get the wave, and it was a freezing cold night. And then for kids, your excitement overload was frustrating because you were like, this is Christmas, it's Father Christmas. Why have I got to wait 2 weeks?
Yeah.
You know, and
I want the presents now.
Yeah. And then they would, you know, take us to the, you know, the nearby garden centre where they always had a Father Christmas. You know, and you'd go up and meet Father Christmas, and you'd get your present as part of that purchase. And it was, do you remember the aeroplane toys? They were like foamy.
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah. They were really cheap, and you just like hours of fun was something so cheap. So you'd have that, and then literally that was it. You'd brace down for
Do
Christmas.
you guys remember Pop-O-Matic? So they used to have these games, right? Like any game, Snakes and
where you
Ladders.
it was like a little dome in the center. You push
you
it and you pop it.
pop
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Remember that?
Yeah, I
pop
remember
the
it.
dice, pop the dice. I remember getting what did we got? Snakes and Ladders, and it had Pop-O-Matic because you always lose the dice,
Snakes and
don't you?
Ladders. Yeah.
You always lose the dice, so they created Pop-O-Matic, so you couldn't lose.
This wasn't a tradition, though. I think this only happened once, thankfully. But my mom used to tell me the story that when I was very, very little, there used to be, back in the days when they had like the big luxury department stores, like downtown. And the one in the city where I was called Buffum's. It was where, you go in, and it was the kind of big department store to go. And every year they had a Santa, all the kids would line up, sit on Santa's lap, blah, blah, blah. And so apparently, I guess when I was taken down, then I must have been like 3 or 4, because I don't remember it. My mom said that when I got sat down on Santa's lap, I just apparently did really not like it. And apparently I was like screaming bloody murder. And apparently I grabbed, so the legend goes, I grabbed onto Santa's beard and just yanked it with all my might. And I guess Santa's beard came out, which then traumatized all the other kids in the line who started screaming and crying as well. So I don't have any memory of that, but apparently it happened.
When did you get out of juvie then?
I know. They probably had my picture, in the back part of the store saying, "Don't let this kid in December."
So you were the only kid then, Gary?
I was.
In your family. Well, how? I mean, I can't imagine that, because I come from a family of 7, so I can't imagine what it's like just to celebrate Christmas on your own. They must have got you some really good toys, though.
Well, yeah, but you know what it was? It was like, I grew up in a neighborhood where there was like a lot of kids my age that I went to school with that were all on the same street in this little kind of like U-shaped cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
It was one of those streets back in the old days where the older kids would babysit the younger kids, and everybody knew each other and all that kind of stuff. So on Christmas, everybody would go over to everybody's house to see what you got. So it wasn't really just kind of like, me by myself.
But
and then other traditions, I watch Rudolph, I watch Santa Claus is Coming to Town,
right?
I'll watch Charlie Brown Christmas. And one of my favorite Scrooge movie is not Scrooged and all that stuff. It's actually the movie from 1970 with Albert Finney, the musical. I love this. I love this.
I think that's the one, to be honest, that we used to watch.
So good, because there's a lot of great British actors in this. David Collings, Lawrence Naismith, Kenneth Moore, Alec Guinness, all these.
It's really funny, right? Because I'm trying to write a Christmas film, and I was talking to a lot of my friends. I've got my friend named Alan, and he always used to say to me, because he used to live in Australia, he always used to say to me, what reminds him of Christmas is the malls over there, because they're in the height of summer at Christmas time in Australia, and the only cool place to go to not suffer the sun is in the shopping malls. So every time he goes in the shopping mall, it always reminds him of Christmas, because it was always cool in there. And it's really weird, isn't it? Because all the way around the world, people celebrate Christmas and they have these thoughts about Christmas that's completely different. Like your one about this, your one about what is it, Santa and stuff like that. It's different, isn't it? It's different for everyone. Everyone has a different experience for Christmas. I find it fascinating.
I think what was special for me as a kid as well is because my dad worked for the BBC.
Yeah.
Every Christmas they had no, thank goodness. I hope not. I haven't got the gene. So they would have a kids' Christmas party in the studio that used to do the Really Wild show.
That's cool. That's cool.
So they'd have a bouncy castle in there. Everyone got a present, and they had all the Christmas music on, and it was great. It was like I said before, growing up, I was ever so proud that my dad worked for the BBC, and
that's great.
You're a BBC workers' kid, and you're going to these parties and you see celebrities walking down the corridors and stuff,
John, if only your dad could have snuck you into the back area before they wiped all those Doctor Who episodes, and you could have carried out
Yeah.
all the
He
film
wasn't
cans.
alive then. He
You could
wasn't
have carried
alive.
all
Well-
the film cans out.
Well, I will say one thing
Mm.
is in the 90s, my dad worked with someone at the BBC who had a connection into the BBC archives.
Yeah.
So he used to record VHSs from the archive for him before they were released out into the public, like years before, and
Yeah.
he would do copies for me. So I would sit at home, and it was really funny. I would be watching, like, you know, Tom Baker stories that hadn't been released yet, and it was quite funny. It had the bar at the bottom
Wow.
with running clock,
Oh, the
you know,
time
Yeah.
code. The
time code. Yeah. So
yeah.
all that was on there as well. But
Yeah.
that was like, you know, I felt like a VIP of Doctor
Yeah.
Who, that I was getting secret access to these
That's
stories.
And I wanted to
Um,
ask Ian, that Bing Crosby record that your dad plays, was that the
Yeah.
one where he sang that song with David Bowie?
No. It's basically it was the world's best-selling album at one point, and the Thriller obviously beat it. But it's a record that everyone in the 60s owned. It was
Like White Christmas or something?
yeah. So basically, it was about him going around basically, it's him singing from LA, and then he would connect around the world with all these people that were celebrating Christmas and how they celebrate Christmas. And so there was talking, and then there was music, and there was talking.
Gotcha.
In fact, I downloaded it from Amazon a couple of days ago. So when I listen to it, it always reminds me of Dad.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah,
boy, that's like an instant nostalgia rush.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. So,
yeah.
but it was vinyls my dad used to play all the time.
Oh,
you know?
mine. Yeah, no, mine
all
had
the
a lot of,
time.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's terrific time for me anyway.
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
you know, I've got like happy memories, and, you know, like I say, it's, you know, bittersweet. I mean, this is my first Christmas without Dad this year. So it's going to be a different experience, but, you know, he'd want us to enjoy it. So, you know, I'll watch those movies, and you know, he wouldn't want me to watch Shooty Gatwa, that's for sure.
I'm excited about Ian's Christmas movie. I can't conceive that honestly about what that's going to be, but I'm excited about that.
Well, I had a meeting. Was it beginning of November with one of my someone that I knew who grades films, and I was listening to Christmas music on my phone, and he was like, "What are you listening to?" And I said, "I'm listening to Nat King Cole Christmas song." And he's like, "It's not even Christmas yet." And I said to him, "Look, I'm listening to music so I can get into the spirit of things. I'm writing this script. I'm writing this Christmas script." But the one thing I've noticed when I'm looking at Christmas movies is that I don't want to do what Hallmark does. I want to try and make a classic. And the only way you can make a classic is if you have something in there that's kind of supernatural and something that you wish you were, like the bishop's wife.
Bishop's wife,
you know,
yes.
Dudley was this amazing
That's right.
was an angel that everybody liked. Immediately when he spoke to people, they liked him automatically, no matter how mean they were.
Yeah.
And I like that. So I want to do a cross between that and Fields of Dreams, which Fields of Dreams has a fantastic feeling when you watch that movie. It has the joy. You know,
do you think, Carrie, I got to ask,
yeah,
because I know that we're kind of coming up on it, but do you think that Cary Grant's Angel was actually in love with Loretta Young in that movie?
I think he was very fond of her. I don't think he was in love with her, but I think he realized he was getting too close to being human, having a human emotion. That's why he pulled back at the end. But he was very fond of her, and if he allowed it to go on, yes, he would have been in trouble, put it that way.
Yeah.
But that's what I feel.
Yeah.
The remake is totally different. It's awful. The remake with Denzel Washington. Awful, absolutely awful. But I just like the idea that you have a superhuman being that basically brings joy into the story. When you watch these Hallmark things, all it's about is girl from the city comes into a small town, falls in love, and doesn't leave.
Yeah,
that's all it's all about. Same thing,
or
same story.
Or like either a prince or princess is in some
Yeah.
small town, but they can't tell anybody who they really are. Yeah, that's the
or they
other.
think of some stupid fad like this new one where this girl builds a snowman and he comes to life. So, you know what I mean? It's
Oh,
like
Hot
this
Snowman. Yeah, that was
handsome chap, and it's like, You know,
I was laughing the
Yeah,
other
nothing
day.
says
Actually.
Christmas like wanting to have sex with a snowman.
Yeah, I was laughing the other day actually because there was a comedian from like in the late 90s, and he did a bit at the time on Tom Cruise movies.
Yeah.
And he basically goes, right, okay, Top Gun. It's about a fighter pilot, the
Yeah,
best
it's the
fighter
same thing.
pilot in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
It was
thing.
it. Yeah. Then he goes, Days of Thunder, best racing driver, loses his confidence, gets his confidence back,
Yeah, it's
becomes the
same
best
thing,
again.
yeah.
He's the best sports agent in Jerry Maguire,
That's
loses
right.
his confidence, gets it back.
Well, that's basically not true. He gets fired, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He
Well, he
gets
does
fired,
lose his
and then he has
confidence
to.
though, because he's
Well,
down and out. Isn't he?
well, he doesn't lose his confidence. Basically,
He
has his
becomes
confidence.
he gets
but, yeah,
enlightened and
yeah,
types
he gets
that
enlightened.
manifesto
Yeah,
and gets
yeah.
fired.
Just remember the title on the box is always,
Yeah.
and on the poster is, everybody loved him, everybody went away.
Yeah.
That's the only
Yeah.
movie in 2025 I'm looking forward to is the Mission Impossible.
Looks good. It looks good. The last
Yeah.
one wasn't very good, but this one looks good.
They bow outright with this one.
Well, they're trying to make you think that, but I don't think so. There's going to be more.
Well, it's a reboot.
I mean, if Tom Cruise survives these stunts, I think there's going to be more.
I think they kind of missed a trick on this one, didn't they? With basically, Mission Impossible was always about the team. It was never about one person. But he just turned it into James Bond, didn't he? Let's face it. That's
the first it didn't start becoming about the ensemble until I think the fourth one. It
wasn't about the ensemble in that one either.
Well, no, because then you got
he did have a team in
came in, and you got
is that Ghost Protocol.
Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, look,
that was more about the team.
No, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. Because if you watch the series, right, it's not focused on one character. It's basically focused on all of them. Like Barney has to go through the trenches to do something. This guy has to do.
Is about the plot. The series isn't about character.
Exactly. Well,
it's about the plot.
No, but you know what I mean. It's about the team that actually achieves the thing. And I love the ending where basically they done the thing and they all walk together and they don't say anything and they all
freeze frame
and drive off.
Yeah.
But with Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible, it's about Ethan Hunt. All of them is about Ethan Hunt. All of them. So what I'm saying is that maybe if he leaves, maybe we get the team back about the.
Well, Jeremy Renner was supposed to take it over, wasn't he?
Yeah, but
then he got injured.
And to be honest with you, this is where I hate modern Hollywood, where they think, oh, we can't, we can't do it without Tom Cruise. But it's like when you watch the Batman movies. I love Keaton to bits, but when they cast Val Kilmer, I didn't have a problem with it.
No, no one did.
Batman. Yeah. So you can do that with Ethan Hunt.
And your opinion on Clooney was
I didn't mind Clooney. I hated writing. Yeah, exactly. I was like, when I saw that for the first time.
What do you think about the costume?
The Batman.
Oh God, no! You know what, right? Right? The very first one of the very first lines he said was, "Hi, Freeze, I'm Batman," and I thought, "Oh God, here we go.
Yeah,
we're in trouble now. We're in trouble."
Do you know what? When
Please, everybody.
I watched it, when I think when I watched it and I thought, "Oh dear," is when the boots became ice skates.
Right? Yeah. And
I was like, "What?"
No, the credit card. It was the credit
card. No, that was terrible. Yeah. The whole thing was terrible. It went backwards, didn't it?
Although I will say that Uma Thurman was inspired casting for Poison Ivy.
No, she was a waste. She was a waste.
Who back then else could have done it?
I liked Uma Thurman as.
I don't think they should have had Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl. That was
she was fat girl, wasn't she? She was overweight a bit. She was overweight.
She did. She did.
She was overweight.
That was the big thing at the time.
Don't cancel us, anybody, please.
Oh,
yeah. I think I've gained a lot more than Alicia Silverstone over the years, so I'll be all right.
Look, that was stupid. Whoever wrote those scripts were. I mean, I didn't mind the Val Kilmer one. And I thought, what's his name? Tommy Lee was hamming it up. I kept laughing all the time, every second. Exactly. What the hell? What was that all about?
I mean, when you watch the extras and the documentaries about that Batman Forever, that's a great watch in itself because you've got all the bust-ups with Val Kilmer,
Mm.
and he was essentially saying, I really wanted to play the Batman, play Batman, and I wanted to play Bruce Wayne. And he said,
Yeah.
but all I knew, all that they wanted from me in the end of the day was to just stand in place, say my line, and then they got a stunt person to do the stunts for it. So
Yeah.
he said he didn't really get much involvement in it. And
Yeah.
I did like the fact that it felt like they were trying to develop the Bruce Wayne side of things a bit more as well in that film. But I think it just went completely.
Well, I'll tell you,
rails.
if you like the two Keaton movies, the continuation of that is in other media. I mean, they did a comics miniseries called Batman '89, where it's actually pretending the last two movies don't exist, and where the Billy D. Williams Harvey Dent becomes Two-Face.
Yeah, it's good.
And they're in the middle. They're in the middle of a second miniseries right now, but it's like there's like 4 months between every issue, I guess, because I don't even want to guess why. And then they have a book out now, a novel which takes place between the first two. I think it's called Batman Resurrection, which takes place after, before, and it kind of sets up the second Batman movie in the novel. So there's different ways to continue the Keaton stuff.
See, they spoiled it. Sorry, go ahead, John. Go
I was just going to say, I mean, I've also got the Superman 78.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
Yeah.
But I was about to say that they've spoiled it for Michael Keaton, because if they should never use him in Flash, because they could have easily done Old Man Batman with Michael Keaton, a proper film without the Flash, just focusing on what Batman is like now and what Gotham City is like
what they should have done,
Dark Knight Returns.
What they should have done, Batman Beyond with Keaton as the aged Bruce Wayne.
I still want that.
That's what I'm saying. But now they solid it because of the Flash, and now we've seen Keaton as Batman, and are we going to want to see him again? No, not really. It was the novelty that they destroyed.
Yeah. Well, they can bring George Clooney back.
Oh, no.
but this is again, Ian. We talked about it a bit earlier, and we've discussed it before. But this is where they deconstruct the character that we've loved and knock them down to rock bottom to supposedly build them up again. I mean, when I saw that Flash movie, and he was basically, an unshaved tramp living in his mansion, pretty much peeing into a jar, and I was like, this isn't Michael Keaton's Batman or Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be like that. Yeah. He would keep going. And, and then they had the whole comments about, we don't have gun violence anymore because we've removed guns, or, and all that in the Flash movie. It's just nonsense. It really is.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And I always, I know I've said this before, I enjoy the 50th Doctor Who, but it's the same thing with the David Tennant Doctor in the 50th. He just felt off. He didn't feel like the David Tennant Doctor that we knew in the series. It just felt slightly off for me. I don't know what it is.
It's got a different writer's feel and twang to it. Just different style of how he writes. Because I get what you mean. Because when you watch that, you think it's almost written a little bit in a way edging closer towards Matt Smith's style of wacky sort of comedy. But I mean,
also, he would have Rose with him, or whoever he was, the last person that was with him. Because where does that happen in the time zone? Where does it happen?
I think they plucked him from memory. I think they plucked him from just before End of Time, so he's on his own at that point.
Or you could say that they pluck him before, like in one of the areas of the Christmas specials when he's on his own.
Yes. Exactly. So I'm pretty sure that's what they did. But
do you know another thing about the Doctor, right, that I think is really weird that they don't do is, like, I'm a man of age, and I'm pretty sure you guys are a man of age as well. Sometimes I'm just saying, you just feel like a bit tired. You've seen things, like some of my nieces say something to me, and I know sometimes they're lying, or I know You know, you can see things because of the amount of experience that you have as a human being, right? But they
Yeah.
never play that in the Doctor. You know, sometimes the Doctor comes across as really dumb and stupid, and you know, claiming, like, for instance, with the Chris Eccleston Doctor, how could he not know what humans are like? He's
Yeah.
been how long? How long has he lived? How long has he
Yeah.
lived in on Earth? He started off on Earth, right? He came from Gallifrey. Why would he call humans monkeys? Why would he call them
Yeah.
that? Yeah,
Yeah.
none of that makes any
Well, I
sense
think
to me.
because
None of it.
my guess is one of the reasons because I think that RTD was directing the character toward people who'd never even seen the show.
Yeah, but still.
I mean,
think
not that justifies
Makes
it.
no
I agree
sense.
with you, but
and you're right. After centuries through, you know, traveling through space and time,
Yeah.
and coming back to Earth, you suddenly magically decide that you're gay as a Doctor as well. You know, it's
Yeah,
I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, it's just
nothing.
you can see it. You can see the narrative focus on
A
that.
thousand, 1,000-year-old alien who's been to the end of the universe and back
Yeah.
about a dozen times
Yeah.
shouldn't be triggered to cry by
No.
the least amount of stuff.
But
Yeah.
look, right. So look, if you're an alien and you live that long, okay, you would be more quieter. You would be very wary of taking someone on a trip with you because of what
Yeah.
happened to Adric
Yeah.
and all those characters that you work with. You'll be persuading them not to come with you. You wouldn't be like, oh, you know,
It's
here's the
good
door
adventure.
open. You've waited long enough, 2 years, go in my
Yeah.
TARDIS.
You're right.
You know
We
that.
share a bed.
But all I'm saying is that
Yeah.
again, I'll say Doctor Who needs to grow up. They never ever think about things like that.
Yeah.
All they do is like shove the Doctor in and make him
Unless it was
some kind of
AI,
country.
unless it was AI
Yeah.
Amy or AI Rose, then I would take them.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I was creating another Doctor, if I was creating another Doctor now, that's what I would have him. I'd have the Doctor really quiet. He's observing things. He's the smartest man in the room, and he won't be running around flapping his arms
Yeah.
around or being
No.
like gurning like David Tennant and stuff. That he wouldn't be doing any of that
Yeah.
stuff. He'll be intelligent. He'll be funny, but he'll be intelligent. So
Yeah, I mean,
I think
no,
they should-
you're
yeah.
totally right, but I think one of the formats of the show is basically with every regeneration, you basically in some way like reset everything back to square one.
No, but that's stupid as well, isn't it? I mean, he still retained the memories of his older self, so there's no way you're not going to grow from that.
No, right.
See-
But what I'm saying is like there's not like a continual line development where everything when he became Tom Baker, he retained, you know, it still carried on a lot of the
No,
you know what I mean?
well,
It's like it's
Same man,
basically
new
kind of a
face.
new starting point.
Yeah, I can understand, you know, him being a little crazy after regeneration, but as he settles, he's got to be someone with that knowledge. I mean, that's the reason why I like John Pertwee so much, because John Pertwee never took any shit from anyone. Not even
No.
I remember, what's that one where I keep forgetting the names of things. I'm really old. Sorry. The one where they flip it and they go to a different time zone and the Brigadier's got like a patch in his eye.
Oh,
What was that one
Inferno.
called? Inferno, right? Even when he was talking.
That's only my favorite Doctor Who story
All right.
ever. And the one you can't remember the name
Well,
of.
sorry. But the point I'm trying to make of
It's a
John
Christmas
Pertwee,
movie.
That's right.
the point I'm trying to make about the John Pertwee Doctor is that he acted like a man with billions of experiences. And remember when that scientist came up to him and he dismissed him. We didn't dismiss him because he was being rude. He dismissed him because he knew he was wrong, right? And he hasn't got any time.
And that's
it's like when you have like my dad, or when you're a kid and you say something to your dad, my dad always used to say to me, "Don't be stupid," right? Yeah. Because my dad knows more than me, right?
Yeah.
So the Doctor would be like that, and that's how John Pertwee.
That was always the great stuff about the time. And I know we got to go, but the times where
sorry, mate.
The Doctor always confronted other scientists. Like I think it was Planet of Evil, where that great line where he says, our desire to explore comes at the cost of ultimate responsibility. Or the great scene at the end of the drug running story, Nightmare of Eden, where the other scientist said, and Tom Baker won't even face him, and he is explaining himself. He goes, "You understand what I tried? Do you understand?" And Tom Baker just mutters, "Just go away, just go away." It's like total disdain. That was great.
I will say, guys, I don't know if you saw it, but I saw the the video clip of Russell T Davies and Moffat sat round by the Christmas tree.
No, I didn't watch that.
And I'm at a point now where it makes me almost sick when I see it, because
Do you want to ruin our
it's all-
Christmases, John?
yeah, it's all lovey stuff, and it's like,
It's all
you know,
rubbish.
oh, what was your favorite Christmas story? Oh, well, it had to be Russell's. And then, Russell, what was your favorite? Oh,
Yeah,
Stephen's first story.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Bollocks.
I'm at a point now where I'm thinking, you actually see Moffat and RTD more than you actually see anyone that's in Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, this is another example of where they are at a point now where they believe their own hype. They believe they're bigger than the show.
And where was Chibnall during that? Was he out shoveling the snow off the driveway?
Everyone knows he's not loved, so he's not
Yeah,
going to shove his face in there somewhere.
And the thing is, you know, and there'll be people out there that'll hate me for saying this, but you cannot say that you're a Doctor Who fan if you've done what you've done to the show. You know, what you've done and what you've altered in the show, you cannot sit there and go, I'm going to watch Inferno tonight. I'm a massive Doctor Who fan, by what you've done and altered to the show and made it completely unrecognizable from what it was.
Yeah, but Stephen the Moff isn't stupid. He knows where his bread is well buttered, isn't it? It's with the BBC, so he's not going to say things that he actually truly thinks. And but I don't know about Russell T. Russell T. believes in what he's doing. I
absolutely
he thinks But going back to the Doctor being, there are certain bits in Doctor Who where he shows that he's more than just he's more than he's far more advanced than humans. You remember that bit where Clara betrays him with the key, and because of Danny and stuff, and he says that wonderful thing to her, you know, but you're going to help me. Well, why wouldn't I help you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's that kind of thing. I think we need more of that.
Yeah, that was
in the Doctor's character, because he's more advanced than human beings with petty things. Petty things doesn't you know, he doesn't get involved in things like that. You know,
he's just like, why would you think that you doing that would be too much for me? Something like that.
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest with you, we need an older Doctor. We don't need.
No, we don't.
You know, in their 20s.
No.
Yeah. No, I would say
we need.
No.
We need.
You'll lose the audience.
Romance.
What if the older Doctor was Hugh Grant? Ian.
Hugh Grant, definitely.
Yeah.
No. The thing is, though, you lose the audience if the person's too old, right? You need someone, maybe, you know, someone obviously in their 40s, maybe. But if you put someone in,
we did with Tom.
Yeah, but if you put someone in like Peter Capaldi again with grey hair and stuff like that, you'll lose the audience, and you don't want to lose the audience. You want to bring the audience back.
Well, we're never going to have to worry about white males anymore. So
yeah. I think they've already lost the audience. So whether they cast someone, I don't.
Well, I don't think they've lost the audience. I literally think people are going to watch this, but it's not going to be as many as Russell T and BBC would like. And they're going to fudge it up with, you know, people, you know, whatever. This is the same shit's going to happen.
You're right, mate. And I think Christmas is always an outlier. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not full. You can't base it on how popular it is, because people are sitting there at Christmas, and like you were joking about earlier, in the UK, we're overstuffed with food. We can't move off of the sofa. We can't even have the energy to change the channel. So that's where you've got to capture the audience.
Make sure when you sit down in your chair that the remote is within reach, please, so you can.
Yeah.
Also, you could never trust any of these Comic Cons, right? So you go to a Comic Con and Jodie will be up on stage and they'll be all clapping seals and stuff, but that does not equal views on the show. No. I give another example, right? And I hate to say this, right? So basically, I released the trailer for Rebecca Gold, and I got 2,000 views, whatever. It's not so bad. I asked people to donate, and I only got 3 people to donate. Yeah. So there's things that don't equal. And you would think that if there are thousands of people clapping for Jodie, they'll be watching her show, but they didn't. They were only there because they enjoy the experience of. But when it comes to actually sitting down and watching the show, they're nowhere. It doesn't guarantee anything. Yeah.
I think also, to finish on, mate, as well, I think that they fell into the trap where they thought we're going to focus on just getting someone for the TikTok crowd, that kind of mindset. And that fell into that. Yeah. And and I would say with well, I mean, let's talk about Shooty briefly before we go. But Shooty, in the series that he was in Netflix, he plays what, a gay character?
Yeah.
You know, he's now gone into Doctor Who and he's playing a gay character, and he's now doing The Importance of Being Earnest, which, you know, fine, that's fine, but he's playing a very flamboyant gay character in that one from you know what you've seen. So yeah, exactly. There's a pattern, and it's like, well, surely if you're an actor, you're meant to have a range, you know.
Shooty's range is from A to B.
Look, I don't care what anyone says.
Crying or dancing. Yeah.
Jodie is a good actress. I've seen her in stuff and she can act, right? But she was totally miscast to play the Doctor.
Yep.
Totally.
Agree.
Yeah. Totally miscast.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I mean, that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us. We've had an absolute blast. Don't forget, if you want to see any of our reviews, just have a look at the playlist. You'll see some boxes come up as well. We're doing the movie reviews. We're doing classic Doctor Who reviews. One that's been an absolute fun ride and seems to be doing very well with people is our Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade review.
That's right.
So check it out.
Stay tuned for the Dial of Destiny review.
Yeah.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah. I'll be about 3 bottles of whiskey in by the time we get to the end of that one.
What a waste of time. What a waste of time.
But until next time, all of us, wish you a good week, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Merry Christmas,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
See you all.